Welcome inside University Stadium for the biggest touted matchup coming into the season in the USports football game of the week. The number one team in the country, the Western Mustangs, trot on down to Uptown Waterloo to take on the number 4 ranked team in the nation, the Laurier Golden Hawks. Jack Moore alongside Deshaun Stevens on the call for you this afternoon. Deshaun, no shortage of storylines, 2 powerhouse programs in the conference, toe-to-toe. The matchup speaks for itself.
Jack, this is one of the most storied rivalries in USports football between, like you said, 2 of the most storied programs in USports football. It's a top 10 matchup, a top 5 matchup, actually. It's a rematch of the 115th Yates Cup, and words cannot explain how important this game will be for the landscape of the OUA as we approach the middle of the season.
2 teams very familiar with each other, like you mentioned, met in Week 9 last year. Laurier had a comeback, but Western was able to hold off in the fourth quarter for a win, secure the number 1 overall seed in the OUA, and host the Yates Cup, where they would rematch against the Golden Hawks. The Golden Hawks with a big second quarter, but Western able to pull away in the second half, en route to losing to Montreal in the national semifinals. So these 2 teams very familiar with each other, and even though we're in Week 4, Deshaun, already the conversation is the 1 seed is on the table this afternoon between these 2 teams.
Yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen with the Windsor Lancers. They're going to meet the Laurier Golden Hawks and the Western Mustangs in Week 8 and 9. But this is the game right here, like you said, that can determine that crucial bye in the OUA playoffs. I mean, for the Laurier Golden Hawks, their bye week was in Week 2, right? So for them, if they can win this game and lock up, hopefully, what might be a bye week for them, it'll be important for them heading into the OUA playoffs.
Without a bye for the Laurier Golden Hawks in the first round of the playoffs, it would be 12 straight weeks of winning football games in order to win a national championship. Western has the bye going into next week. And for these 2 teams, the storyline are the quarterbacks. The OUA MVP, the first team OUA All-Star, second team All-Canadian Taylor Elgersma for the Golden Hawks. And then on the other side, you have the second team OUA All-Star and the runner-up for the OUA MVP last season and 3-time Yates Cup champion Evan Hillock.
Yeah, and right now the quarterback play across USports football is probably some of the best we've ever seen in our lifetime, and it's really headlined by these 2 quarterbacks right here. Taylor Elgersma, of course, the reigning OUA MVP, hasn't really gotten started, only has 1 touchdown through 2 games and 2 interceptions, while Evan Hillock, having never won an OUA MVP, is number 1 in the country when it comes to passing touchdowns with 6, and has this Western Mustangs passing attack rolling through 3 weeks.
Dawson Hodge ready to boot this one away for the Golden Hawks. Henry Chu leading the officiating crew this afternoon. 26 degrees, no clouds, a beautiful day here in Uptown Waterloo with a minimal 10-kilometer-an-hour wind from southeast to northwest. Roman Campanaro will leave it for Ethan Dolby to return this one inside the Western 10-yard line, and Dolby gets stood up at the 25, where Evan Hillock in this potent rushing attack for the Western Mustangs take the field.
And you talk about that rushing attack led by Keon Edwards, a former OUA MVP, as well as Keanu Yazbek. I'm curious to see how this front 7 is able to stack up against that always dominant Western O-line, that always dominant Western run game. Obviously, the front 7 lost a lot this past offseason with the departure of Luke Burbracker, Brandon Omanua, as well as Ife on Emmanuel. So I'm curious to see how they can match up against this Western rushing attack. Might be one of their toughest matchups of the season.
The oldest inside linebacker for the Golden Hawks is in his second year. Chizenem Insatem in the middle of that defensive line looking to get it done as Hillock lines up in shotgun on first down. He'll hand it off to Keanu Yazbek, and he has a hole up the middle. Keanu Yazbek, ball pops free, and the Golden Hawks have it. It was a gain of 20 yards before Jahari Hastings knocked it free, and the Golden Hawks will take over in Western territory.
What a start to the game for the Laurier Golden Hawks. That's how you want to start against the number 1 team in the country. Jahari Hastings with a big play after Keanu Yazbek had a huge hole up the middle. The SFU transfer, the OUA All-Star, makes a big play to give the ball back to his offense. And now we're going to see Taylor Elgersma and that number 1 passing attack from last season touch the field right here to start the game for Laurier.
Taylor Elgersma, Tanner Nelms in the backfield. Ethan Jordan and Sebastian Parcelita switch spots in the slot. Elgersma will pass on 1st and 10. Steps up in the pocket. He'll keep it himself, and Von Muhldorfer limits the gain to 2 yards. 2nd and 8.
Taylor Elgersma steps up in the pocket, goes through his reads. The pocket closed very quick, escapes the pocket, picks up a couple yards, and that's where you're able to kind of see the dual threat nature of Taylor Elgersma. He's an elite passer, but a lot of people overlook his ability to leave the pocket, extend the play, pick up a few yards. Actually has more rushing touchdowns this season than he does passing touchdowns.
Just the one passing touchdown for Taylor Elgersma coming into the week 4 matchup against the Mustangs, the 3rd game of the season here for the Golden Hawks. He didn't have a passing touchdown in week 1 against McMaster, had 1 and 1 interception with 241 yards through the air last week. He goes to Ethan Jordan, who picks up a first down and goes down at the 32-yard line, a 1st and 10 for the Hawks coming up.
And Jack, you and I talked about it a lot leading up to this game. This was the #1 passing attack in the country last season, yet only through 2 games, they have a little under 300 yards passing, only 1 passing touchdown, and it's not even to one of the 2 All-Canadian receivers. It's actually to Jackson Stebbing. So we're looking to see if this offense that Laurier has, this passing attack, can pick up earlier on in this 3rd game that they have in the season.
Not an easy matchup for Ethan Jordan out there as well. He was covered by Richie Adu before, the 68th overall pick by the Rough Riders in the 2024 CFL draft. Up the middle, Tanner Nelms will gain 5, and the Golden Hawks will have a 2nd and manageable here.
And Tanner Nelms was a huge return for the Laurier Golden Hawks this year. Obviously, having Quentin Scott not be a part of the team this year, having Tanner Nelms, a veteran, be in there starting as your ball carrier, very huge for this team. And Tanner Nelms is averaging 6 yards per carry this season. He is a reliable running back. And when the passing attack is struggling, you can hand it up to number 2, and he'll at least get you 6 or 5 yards.
3 running backs in the formation here for Laurier: Nelms, Bassick, Hayden, and Tayshawn Jackson, who, of course, had that 108-yard Laurier record kick return last week. He lines up to the right, and they'll hand it off to Bassick Hayden, driving himself forward, the big heavy back right at the line to gain, and it looks like he'll have enough for the first down on the gain of 5.
And right now we're seeing what we've seen from Laurier through their first 2 games. They're not forcing the pass. They're getting a feel for Western's defense. They're understanding what they can accomplish on the ground. And listen, if it works, if it's not broke, you don't need to fix it. So handing it off, seeing how much they can pick up, and let's see if they can drive the ball as they enter the red zone on this Western defense.
Darian Bassick Hayden, 5'10", 215 pounds. The change of pace of all 3 running backs for the Golden Hawks. Nelms, the more traditional built running back. Tayshawn Jackson, the small scat back, and then Bassick Hayden, the bruising runner. Elgersma in shotgun, play action to Jackson. He's getting pressure, and he gets wrapped up in the backfield. The Western defense gets home. Nate Gonzalez.
And now that play, the pocket closed. You saw Nate Gonzalez was able to get there. Him along with friends were able to take down Taylor Elgersma. We'll see on this 2nd down if Laurier can kind of correct some wrongs right there, see if they continue driving the ball. Still within field goal range for Dawson Hodge, but let's see what this Western defense can do on this next down.
Chris Cameron Cogler in there as well for the Mustangs here. 2nd and 17 from the Western 28 after the Yazbek fumble on Western's first play from scrimmage here in the first quarter of this top 5 matchup amongst 2 of the best teams in the country. Elgersma, 2nd and 17, drops back, pressure in his face, gets away, looking downfield, Laomi Ojutalayo down at the 1-yard line, 1st and goal for the Hawks.
Taylor Elgersma was able to extend the play with his legs, Jack. Like I said,
Elgersma will go under center here. 1st and goal from the Western 1-yard line. The 6'6", 220-pound quarterback with Sebastian Parasolitis and Darian Bassick Hayden. Elgersma to his left. Flag flies, and he will get in for a Laurier touchdown. And we'll wait the call from the official, but another rushing touchdown here from Taylor Elgersma as it stands right now. Henry Chu with the call. Too many players on the field against the Western Mustangs. Taylor Elgersma finds the end zone, and the Golden Hawks take the lead after their defense forces a turnover on Western's first drive of the game.
And for the Laurier Golden Hawks, that's how you want to start the game, right? A strong turnover by one of your leaders on your defense to force that fumble, give it to your offense, have them drive the ball 50 yards, and you punch it in with your OUA MVP quarterback.
Dawson Hodge on for the extra point. up and good. 8 of 8 on the season for Dawson Hodge on extra points. And with 9:50 to go in the first quarter, we're still early in this one. The Golden Hawks strike first.
And now I'm curious to see, how do the Western Mustangs react? How does that offense react? You just had a turnover on your first drive. Keanu Yazbek's first turnover of the season, right? But they have a calm, cool, collective quarterback in Evan Hillock, number 1, about to touch the field. Let's see how they respond to this series of events, I guess, from the Laurier Golden Hawks.
Well, and they were able to exploit a weakness in the Laurier defense and get it 20 yards from the original line of scrimmage. It was the fumble that was the killer that caused the turnover and give the ball back to Laurier. So if you're Western, you look at that and you say, hey, we can still run the ball. We just need to hold it tight and make sure we don't give it away.
And on the opposite side for Laurier's defense, hey, they got away with one. Jahari Hastings bailed them out. So let's see if they can close up those holes and try to stop the run and force Evan Hillock to throw the ball early on.
Dawson Hodge, for the second time today, will kick it away from his own 45-yard line. Dolby not back to return this time for the Western Mustangs. It's Daniel Kabongo, and he will take this one at his own 6. Kabongo up the far side of the field, gets a block, and moves to the sideline, staying on his feet before being forced out by Malik Cote. So Western will take over 1st and 10 from their own 35.
That might have been a touchdown-saving tackle by Malik Cote on the sideline. Daniel Kabongo is one of the more electric returners in the country, and he almost broke one there. Malik Cote, a very underrated, maybe touchdown-saving tackle right there for the Laurier Golden Hawks.
Kabongo, the second year from Calgary, Alberta, did not play last week against the Carleton Ravens. And, of course, they got Roman Campanaro, who was the other returner on that one, who had a 101-yard kick return touchdown in a conference that saw a lot of kick return touchdowns last week. Evan Hillock, second drive of the game. Keon Edwards in the backfield. He'll go to the air and fire it out for Mohsen Jamal. Underneath, Tristan Miller wraps up, makes the tackle. It's a gain of 6 yards and 2nd and 4.
And as Evan Hillock goes through the air for the first time, let's talk about how Evan Hillock has developed over the last number of years. I think early on in his career when Western won the Vanier Cup, there was a lot of talk about whether or not Evan Hillock was a true passer or he was being carried by his running backs. But last year in 2023, he really showed that he can be one of the more elite passers in the OUA.
He'll go play action to Edwards over the middle, and that falls incomplete for Seth Robertson. So a 2 and out here for the Western Mustangs, and they'll have to punt it away. So offensively, not starting the game as we've traditionally seen Western Mustangs teams start games. A fumble, turnover caused a touchdown, and now having to punt it away with Oliver Griffiths.
And for Laurier's defense, that's what you want, a 2 and out. You know, they were able to give up that big run on the first drive, saved by the Jahari Hastings fumble, and now they're able to force Western's offense 2 and out and get the ball back for their offense.
Tayshawn Jackson, the only one deep to return. He's got his toes on his own 18-yard line. Griffiths can boom it. He had a 60-yard punt last week, having a 50-yarder in every game this season. This one flies out of bounds. This will bring down that average. And the Golden Hawks will take over at their own 39-yard line. So Taylor Elgersma coming out for his second drive of the game. Golden Hawks offense has to feel comfortable and positive after what they did on drive number 1 in plus territory.
Success running the ball, success through the air with the pass to Leomi, success handing it off to Tanner Nelms, success driving the ball down the field. If you're the Laurier Golden Hawks, it truly is one drive, one play at a time. Against the Western Mustangs, adjustments come quick. So let's see if Laurier can continue this momentum into their second drive of the game on offense.
Tanner Nelms in the backfield. He had 1 carry for 6 yards in that first drive for the Golden Hawks. They go 5 wide receivers and go play action to Nelms. Jace Atkinson pulls it in, but can't get away from the tackle. So a loss of 1 or 2 will bring up 2nd and long here for the Golden Hawks.
And you saw Taylor Elgersma faked the handoff there, the play action to Tanner Nelms before getting to Jace Atkinson. They're establishing the run, and when you establish the run, you establish the run to set up the pass. So now curious to see how Laurier uses that play action throughout the game as they establish the run.
Loss of 1, so 2nd and 11 here for the Golden Hawks. It was Ryan Barthelson, the linebacker transfer from Simon Fraser, making the tackle, playing with Jahari Hastings back in 2022, as well as Keyshawn Dorsey, the Golden Hawks backup quarterback. This out route to Ethan Jordan makes the catch, gets a block upfield, and he's down the sideline. He stays in. He won't be caught. It's a Laurier touchdown. A 72-yard strike Taylor Elgersma finds Ethan Jordan, and the Golden Hawks back on the board.
Taylor Elgersma went through his reads. He saw Ethan Jordan pop open on the corner route, and Laomi Olatojezo made a huge block on the sideline to free up Ethan Jordan, and it became a foot race with Jackson Finley. But Ethan Jordan, he has track and field speed and found the end zone to put the Laurier Golden Hawks up what might be 13, maybe soon to be 14-0 early in this first quarter against the #1 team in the country.
Ethan Jordan had 10 catches for 105 yards. He goes 72 on that connection with Taylor Elgersma on 2nd and long. Dawson Hodge, extra point, good. It's 14-0 Golden Hawks midway through this first quarter. Laurier couldn't have asked for a better start, Deshaun, and for Western, arguably worst-case scenario to begin this game.
Worst-case scenario for them to begin this game, but remember, the Western Mustangs are some of the better problem solvers in USports football. They've faced adversity before, but of course, this is the toughest adversity they faced earlier on in this season. Let's see if they can overcome their first 14-0 deficit of the season.
Taylor Elgersma, 4 of 4 for 111 yards and a touchdown in this first quarter so far. 72 yards to Ethan Jordan, who had the first down when he made the catch and then toe tapped down that Western sideline. And Greg Marshall still having a conversation with the official, feeling that Ethan Jordan stepped out of bounds. And I wouldn't want to be Craig Trimble, the referee, who's got to stand at the Western 40-yard line right beside.
We talked about how Laurier's passing attack had to get going in this game, and so far we've seen it. 4 for 4, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. This is the start you want if you're the Laurier Golden Hawks.
Dawson Hodge boots this one away, and this time it is Campanaro to return it. Had a big one last week, and he gets chopped down at his own 21. So Hillock comes out for his 3rd drive of the game, and we have offside against the Golden Hawks on the kickoff, and I'd imagine Greg Marshall wants this one to go over again and try and get better field positioning.
You know, and if we look at Western's first 2 drives, again, Keanu Yazbek actually had a big run up the middle. There was the fumble that caused a turnover. And then on the 2nd drive, Seth Robinson was actually open right over the middle, but Evan Hillock just overthrew it. So if you're the Western Mustangs, you're not really panicking because you see opportunities, right? You're just not taking advantage of it. So let's see if the Western Mustangs can settle down a little bit, become disciplined, and actually make good on those open opportunities that they get down the stretch.
It was interesting talking to coaches on both sides down on the field before today's game, and when I was talking to the Laurier coaches, the feeling was that for the first time in a long time going into a Western week, this was just another week. This was another week to take care of business. Talking to some of the Western coaches, the feeling was the guys were juiced up this week. They know the importance of this game, and you wonder if those emotions of the two teams in the week leading up to the game have kind of led to the start of this game with 7:37 to go in the first quarter, but a 14-0 Laurier lead.
And you got to believe the Laurier Golden Hawks, after what they did in Week 9 against Western last year, overcoming a 27-0 deficit and then leading at halftime in the Yates Cup, they got to believe by now that they can compete with the Western Mustangs. The fear is gone.
Hodge will boot this one away again. A high, shallow kick for Kabongo back at his 18-yard line. And he'll follow his blockers up the sideline. And he'll step out of bounds at the Laurier 39. So a swing of 18 yards on the re-kick after Ryan Hughes was offside for the Golden Hawks. And Evan Hillock will start just shy of his own 40 for his 3rd drive of the game.
Yeah, solid return by Kabongo. And, you know, now the Western Mustangs are, again, starting with some pretty good field positioning. Let's see, again, if they can capitalize on those open opportunities that they've seen down the stretch. And let's actually see if Laurier's defense can buckle down and eliminate those opportunities. Let's see if that secondary can cut off those open routes from Mosin Jamal and Seth Robinson. Let's see if that front 7 can close the holes that Keanu Yazbek is taking advantage of.
1st and 10 from their own 39, left hash mark for Evan Hillock. Hands off, Keanu Yazbek. His first carry since fumbling on the first drive. He'll gain 6. It brings up 2nd and 4.
And for Keanu Yazbek, I think that's his let's settle down carry. He needed that one. He didn't touch the ball on the last drive. His first touch since the fumble, picks up a solid 5 yards. With the Western Mustangs, it's just one play at a time. Let's see if they can continue rolling down the field, and let's see what they can do on this drive.
A touchdown in all 3 games so far this year. He was 12 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown last week against the Carleton Ravens. After back-to-back home games for Western, they're on the road here in week number 4. Yazbek gets chopped down right at the line to gain, and it looks like he'll be short by an inch. So this will be 3rd and short for the Western Mustangs, and decision time is Yazbek running off the field, tapping at his left shoulder that's taped up.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about, we'll see if Western decides to go for it, but we talk about the calmness of Evan Hillock. Before that handoff, we see Evan Hillock coming off. Before that handoff, Evan Hillock was fixing Keanu Yazbek's helmet on the field, and that just goes to show how calm, cool, collective he is as a quarterback. Let's see if that calmness can kind of, you know, rotate, that aura can rotate throughout his offense as they continue this game.
6'5", 250-pound Jerome Rancourt under center for the Western Mustangs. He'll drive forward. Flags fly. He got stood up right at the line to gain. It doesn't look like he got it. We have to see what the call on the field is, but this could be a 3rd down stop for the Hawks. And it does look like it's going to be against Laurier. That's the consensus from the Western side, at least, as we wait for Henry Chu, the head referee, to give us the call.
What a big hit by Jahari Hastings. I think when Jerome Rancourt comes onto the field on a short yardage situation, and Western will get the first down off of that penalty. But when Jerome Rancourt comes on the field, you know it's short yardage situation. The Laurier defense knew what to expect, and Jahari Hastings timed it almost perfectly and got in there, stopped him for the first down, but not enough. Forced that offsides, and now Western's offense is back on the field.
Yazbek back in the backfield. He gets swallowed up immediately. It's Ethan Gregorczyk, the reigning OUA Rookie of the Year, for a 3-yard loss, 2nd and 13 for the Mustangs.
Ethan Gregorczyk got right through the hole and made contact with Keanu Yazbek in the backfield and was able to shut him down early. That's Keanu Yazbek's first, I guess, rush for a loss this game. Let's see what they do on 2nd down.
We talked about this young Laurier linebacking core. The 19-year-old Ethan Gregorczyk is the veteran of the group, and he makes a big play. Hillock to pass, 2nd and 13 into the flat, and that is caught by his fullback, who steps out of bounds at the 50-yard line. He'll be 3 yards short, and now it's decision time for Greg Marshall once again, as Sandro Perini making the catch.
And with Laurier's front seven, we've now been able to see that they can stop the run. They're gaining some confidence in slowing down Keanu Yazbek. They've gained confidence on the short yardage situation with shutting down Jerome Rancourt. And now we're going to see the ball in Evan Hillock's hands more. How will that secondary react? Can the secondary shut down Seth Robertson, who's like leading the nation in receiving touchdowns right now, or Mohsen Jamal? How can Keanu Yazbek, respond? Now we see Keon Edwards in the game. Here we go.
Evan Hillock hands off. Edwards has the edge. He'll drive forward and pick up a first down for the Western Mustangs. So it's 2 third-down gambles, down by 14 in the first quarter, and Greg Marshall's team has converted on both of them.
And now they're settling down. They pulled out Keanu Yazbek, putting Keon Edwards, throwing the ball out a bit more. Let's see what they do here on 2nd down. Someone's coming off the field. And that's a first down for the Western Mustangs.
Keon Edwards, the 2022 OUA MVP, had over 1,000 yards rushing that season as they hand off on the reverse to Mohsen Jamal, who has lead blockers, drives forward across the 40 before a flock of Hawks meet him, and he will gain 5 yards to bring up 2nd and 5.
And many people thought that 2023 would be Keon Edwards' final year of eligibility. He was able to get one more year of eligibility and come back for this Western Mustangs team, and he's proven to be a great addition to a team, a veteran team, that's looking to make one more run at a Vanier and a Yates Cup, at least in this era of Western Mustangs football.
Well, we talked about it off-air before the game, the loss of Edward Winati last season due to a suspension for 4 years. And the Western Mustangs just keep churning out running backs. Evan Hillock passes into the flat. That time he connects with Robertson. He's right at the line to gain, and it looks like it's going to be 3rd down, so another decision for Greg Marshall, the third and short of this drive.
If you're Laurier right now, you got to be impressed with what you're seeing from your defense, because you're making it hard for the Western Mustangs. This is a team that, through the first 3 weeks, have had easy drives, easy scores, haven't been challenged on offense, haven't been challenged on defense, and right now you're seeing for the first time this season, the Western Mustangs are kind of struggling to move the ball. They're really trying to pick up every yard, every inch they can.
3rd and inches here. They keep Rancourt on the sideline, so Evan Hillock in shotgun with Keon Edwards. Handoff up the middle. Edwards falls forward to the 35, and it is a first down for the Mustangs.
Again, first down for the Mustangs, but they had to work hard for it. You saw right there the offensive line collapsed. The front 7 got through. Big tackle made by Wilkins, Flarency, but Keon Edwards was able to fall forward and find that first down.
2:43 to go in the first quarter. The Golden Hawks capitalizing after Jahari Hastings punching out a football on Keanu Yazbek on Western's first drive. And then Laurier forcing Western to punt and capitalizing on a 72-yard Ethan Jordan touchdown from Taylor Elgersma. Hillock, he's got man coverage down the field looking for Robertson. And that is caught for a touchdown! Unbelievable for Seth Robertson, but they're going to say it hit the turf. It's incomplete. The second referee came in who had a better look inside of the bodies of Jahari Hastings and Seth Robertson, and he said it hit the turf. So 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs from the Laurier 35.
Even though it was called off and ruled not a catch, what a catch by Seth Robertson. If it would have been a catch, Jahari Hastings was all over him. Looking back at the ball, clean coverage, still couldn't come down with it.
Unbelievable ability for Seth Robertson to even make it close to try and catch that ball.
Agreed.
It looked like Jahari Hastings was all over it. 2nd and 10 for Western. They hand off to Yazbek. Bounces it outside. A flag flies. Keanu Yazbek down the sideline, and he stiff arms his way down to the 4, but this one looks like it's coming back for holding.
Yeah, it looked like Seth Robertson might have held on that. That key block opened up the hole for Keanu Yazbek to find his way around. We'll see what the call is.
One of the key points with the Laurier coaches going into this week was discipline after a very undisciplined game last week against the Guelph Griffins, and it is a holding penalty going against Western. So you have that ball where you think it's a touchdown, it falls incomplete. You think you get down inside the 5 on a big Keanu Yazbek 30-yard run, and all of a sudden you're 2nd and 20 and really teetering on the edge of Brian Garrity field goal range.
And for this Laurier defense right now, they're giving a bend, don't break type of vibe. They're bending, but they're not breaking.
2nd and 20 for Evan Hillock. From the Laurier 45, Hillock in the pocket. Underneath, it falls incomplete. Great job there by Mateo LaQuintana getting home and giving pressure on Evan Hillock. It was incomplete, and it will be Brian Garrity on to attempt a 52-yard field goal. I was talking to a Western coach on the field before the game. He said every day at the end of practice, we kick field goals. And if we miss, we run. They haven't run all year. Brian Garrity almost automatic. His long on the season is of 39. This is from 52 to put the Mustangs on the board in the first quarter. Seth Robertson to hold for the Mustangs. Tayshawn Jackson deep to return for the Golden Hawks. 52 yards right hash for Brian Garrity. That ball is up and no good. He missed wide left. Tayshawn Jackson to return. Jackson, who had a 108-yard return last week, gets swallowed up at his own 10-yard line. So what looked like was going to be a Seth Robertson touchdown drive for the Mustangs turns into no points for Western through 3 drives in this game.
I know you said you were talking to a Western coach, and he said if they miss, they run. They might have to run for that one. But for the Laurier defense, what a drive. What a drive. What a stand. Bend but don't break. Western pulled out everything on that drive. They pulled out Evan Hillock passing the ball to Mohsen Jabal and Seth Robertson. They pulled out Keanu Yazbek. They pulled out Keon Edwards. Western literally gave every single punch they had on that drive, and Laurier's defense did not break. And, of course, there you go. It finishes with a missed field goal, and your offense gets the ball back.
I'm sure a lot of Western fans watching at home are going to say that I missed that field goal for the announcer jinx. I didn't kick it. I didn't swing the leg. I was a long snapper. I wasn't a kicker when it came to that. So that would have been a season long for Brian Garrity, who there is a lot of confidence in him, and he's now 6 of 9 on the season field goal kicking, but I don't think that that's going to waver in the confidence that Greg Marshall and the staff have around him as a kicker when they need him to win them a football game potentially.
Absolutely not. I mean, let's remember, Brian Garrity won Yates Cup MVP last year. He, scored all of Western's points in the second half against Laurier to bring home that Yates Cup trophy. He is one of the best kickers in the country. You can't make them all, right? But I don't think that's going to waive any confidence that Brian Garrity has, and he'll definitely be needed throughout this game. So we'll see if he can bounce back the next opportunity he gets.
He leads the conference in points with 38 so far this season, 20 of 20 on extra points, now 6 of 9 on field goals. After that miss, with 92 seconds to go in the first quarter, the Laurier Golden Hawks with a 14-0 lead and the ball on their own 20. Elgersma play action to Tanner Nelms. Elgersma down the far side. Laomi Ojatalayo wide open at the 50. He gets across midfield and into Western territory. He was quiet last week, but the beast is up and roaring here in the first quarter against the Mustangs.
And the big thing, again, that we said about Laomi Ojatalayo is that he is the unsung hero on this defense. He's not Raiden Thornton. He's not an All-Canadian. He's not Ethan Jordan. He's not an All-Canadian. He's not Tanner Nelms, a former OUA All-Star. But if you get the ball in his hands, he can make a big play happen, and he did that just now. That is his second big play of the game.
1st and 10 from the Western 53, quickly across midfield for Elgersma. Empty set for the Laurier quarterback underneath to Raiden Thorne. He gets chopped down after a gain of 4. It brings up 2nd and 6. Raiden Thorne, relatively quiet week last week, 3 receptions for 16 yards, has his first of the day.
And you're seeing Taylor Elgersma now get comfortable passing the ball through the air. So far in this game, he's hit Laomi Ojatalayo. He's hit Raiden Thorne. He's hit Ethan Jordan. He's hit Jace Atkinson. He's hit basically all of his receivers except for Jackson Stebbings. So now you're seeing that passing attack that Laurier's become known for, that they've become synonymous for, really come to life here right now.
It's not 2 guys. It's the whole offense, and the goal is to win football games, not to get big stats. Elgersma, 2nd and 7, play action. Steps up, evades the sack. Elgersma fires. Laomi Ojatalayo makes the catch, and a first down for the Hawks at the Western 42. Sorry, that's Raiden Thorne making the catch.
Again, Taylor Elgersma, elusive, able to break the potential sack, extend the play with his feet. Raiden Thorne runs the comeback, comes back to the ball, has chemistry with his quarterback, recognizes he's in trouble, and is able to hold down that catch, pick up some yards, and keep this drive alive.
1st and 10 for the Hawks from the Western 42-yard line. When quarter number 2 begins, 14-0 for the number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks, leading the number 1 team in the country, the Western Mustangs. And you're watching Laurier Golden Hawk football on OUA TV. Tickets for the 2024 Vanier Cup at Richardson Stadium are on sale now. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit usportstickets.ca to reserve your seat for Canada's University Football Finale. The 2024 Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 23rd in Kingston, Ontario. Chase the glory. I'll be there. Will you be there, Dejan?
I'll be there.
We'll be there in the CBC booth. Taylor Elgersma, 1st and 10. Jace Atkinson makes the catch over the middle and stiff arms the defender. A gain of 14 and a first down for the Hawks.
You know who Jace Atkinson reminds me of? Carson Ouellette. He reminds me a lot of Carson Ouellette. Small receiver, elusive, quick, fast, and dangerous over the middle. That's who he reminds me of.
Unbelievable receiver here for the Hawks. Of course, scored a touchdown in the 2016 Yates Cup. Went on, finished his last year at the University of Windsor for his hometown team. But a phenomenal player in the history of Laurier football. And that's a great comparison to a player of Laurier's past into a guy who's been a consistent threat over the middle for the Hawks. 1st and 10, Tanner Nelms up the middle, driving himself forward. And the gain of 3 yards will bring up 2nd and 7, getting an extra little push from Taylor Elgersma.
Yeah, really, really synonymous with Michael Neville in the Yates Cup in 2016, right, when Levondre Gordon had a big run. But listen, Taylor Elgersma right now, I know he just handed the ball off, but he's 8 for 8 right now. He has not missed a pass. He's 8 for 8, 172 yards, 1 touchdown, of course 1 sack, but this is the OUA MVP that we've come to know and become familiar with over the last year or so.
They gave him 2 yards on the carry, so 2nd and 8 here for Elgersma. Line to gain is just past the Western 20-yard line. Elgersma underneath to Jordan, flips it back to Atkinson, spins away from the defender, and he gets a block, but he goes down at the 33. and a flag flies after the play, and you wonder if this is for an extra hit after Atkinson hit the turf. Max von Muhldorfer was the one to finish the play, and we'll wait for Henry Chu to give us the call.
And Max von Muhldorfer was just waiting there for, we'll see, illegal block.
Oh, this is going against Taylor Elgersma for an illegal block. He was the one with the crackback to try and spring Jace Atkinson. He had the hit on Jackson Finley in the backfield. Western declines the penalty, and this will be a 40-yarder for Dawson Hodge from the left hash as Daniel Kabongo goes deep to return for the Mustangs.
And that was just a good defensive set by Western's defensive there. You had Soren Hallschmidt ready there to stop Jace Atkinson. Of course, Max von Muhldorfer finished the play, but they were able to eat that reverse up and take it out of play completely.
Hodge hit a 40-yarder in week 1 against the McMaster Marauders. He had one from 38 last week from the left hash. That one gets blocked at the line of scrimmage. Daniel Kabongo picks it up in the end zone and looking for a return. He gets chopped down at the 10-yard line by Chisanem Insatem. So both teams unable to connect on the field goal after Western gets a big mid on that one.
And Western's defense right there, I think, with a game-saving drive. The last thing you want to do is go down 21-0 against a Laurier offense that's finding their groove and showing shades of being the #1 passing attack in the country that they were last season. So for Western's defense, big drive, big stop, and of course a big block to give your offense chances to get back in this game. Western still has life. We're still early in the second quarter. Evan Hillock touching the field right now. Let's see what this Western offense has as they start from their own 20-yard line.
Western Mustangs on their own 20 because they brought that one out of the end zone like the Golden Hawks did on Brian Garrity's missed field goal attempt. High snap over Hillock's head, and he'll fall on it at his own 5. A high snap for the Mustangs and a 2nd and 25 coming up for Western. Alex Berwick, the 4th year from Ottawa, the starting center who's traditionally been a stalwart in the middle and not something you have to worry about, with a high snap there and 2nd and very long here for the Mustangs, Deshaun.
And I think for the Mustangs, the goal is you got to get out of your own end zone. You want to get as far away from your own end zone as possible. You don't want to give up a safety on 3rd down. Let's see if they can hand the ball to Keon Edwards and, make some space or get some yardage through the air with Evan Hillock.
Hillock will look to pass. He goes down the near sideline for Brendan Misery, who makes the catch. A 45-yard gain for the Western Mustangs. Braden Misery, a massive catch as a flag down on the field. As we'll wait for the call from Henry Chu, but a massive pitching catch there from Western.
And Malik Kote was all over Brandon Misery there, and he was still able to come down with that catch. Malik Kote's had a pretty good season so far this year. A really good shutdown corner for Laurier. Great boundary corner. Let's see this call.
Braden Misery called for the push-off. So the Whitby, Ontario native, one-on-one against the Ajax native in Malik Kote, pushes off, and all of a sudden the Mustangs are on their own 1-yard line. So 2nd and 29 coming up here for the Mustangs. They have to get to the 30, but they connected on a 45-yard pass. Think about the touchdown being called back for being incomplete, the holding call down to the 4-yard line that pulled them back, and now they're on their own 1.
Not a clean start for the Western Mustangs today.
Evan Hillock in shotgun. He'll look off to his left again. He'll fire to Seth Robertson at the 20, makes the catch. It'll be 3rd and 9 after the gain of 20. And Griffiths will have to come on to punt this one away again for the Mustangs.
I think they just wanted to get out of their own end zone. They were too deep in their own end zone. That said, hey, let's see if we can pick up some yards. Let's see if we can push the ball as far as possible. Let's see if we can give Connor Griffiths a chance to even get off a punt instead of giving up a safety. But, hey, again, great drive there by Laurier's defense. They've been stellar throughout this first quarter and a half. And to say that you haven't given up a single touchdown, a single point to the Western Mustangs through one whole quarter in 3 minutes is quite the accomplishment.
So Griffiths to boot this one away. Toes on his own 5. And a high end-over-end punt will bounce at the Laurier 52. Tayshawn Jackson from his own 47. Slips but stays on his feet. Tayshawn Jackson gets to the sideline and gets across midfield before dragging himself forward to the 47. slips and slides forward, and the little scat back for the Golden Hawks, able to hide behind blockers and evade tackles. So it's 1st and 10 from the Western 46. The field position game, the offensive game have all been dominated by the Hawks so far today, Deshaun.
Yeah, and I just want to talk quickly about Tayshaun Jackson, only in his 2nd year, but has had a huge impact for this Laurier team through their first 3 weeks. Big returns in week 1 against McMaster, a huge return last week against Guelph, and right there, staying alive against that Western kick return team.
In at running back now behind Elgersma, 1st and 10 from the Western 46, up 14-0 with 11 minutes to go in quarter number 2. Elgersma keeps it himself on the RPO. Bassick Hayden out of the backfield, and he'll gain a tough 7 yards for a 2nd and 3.
And now you see Laurier's offense. They said, hey, we know we can throw on this defense. We know we can run on this defense. Let's settle down. Let's just pick up yards, because touchdowns are earned, not given, and they're not guaranteed. So you see a nice little play-action pass right there by Taylor Elgersma, faking the pass, set up the run, or faking the run, set up the pass. Let's see what they got here on 2nd down and 3 yards to go.
2nd and 3 here for the Golden Hawks from the Western 39. Elgersma keeps it himself on a broken play, and he gets close to the 35. They will mark him down inside the 36, which was the line to gain. And they might have to bring the chains out to measure this one. And it looks like that's what. No, they will give him the 1st down.
And what makes Taylor Elgersma so special is he's not afraid to get it done himself. He's not afraid to run the ball, put his head down, and leap and dive for that 1st down. Just did that right now to keep the drive alive.
Elgersma in shotgun, 1st and 10 from the Western 36. Bassick Hayden and Parasolitis in the backfield. Bassick Hayden up the middle, cuts to his right, stays on his feet, down to the 25, rumbling his way for a gain of 10. Gain of 9.5, and that'll be a 2nd and short here for the Hawks.
And for Bassick Hayden, the entire field side was wide open. He had one man to beat. He beat that man, but he couldn't beat the turf monster. Tripped up, could have been a big run, but still picking up yards for Laurier, and they still have a 1st down.
Again, we talk about change of pace with the difference between Nelms, Bassick Hayden, Tayshaun Jackson. It affects the way linebackers play and fit those players in the backfield. You have to get physical with Darian Bassick Hayden. He gets it up the middle on 2nd and short, driving himself forward down to the 20-yard line. A 1st and 10 for the Hawks on the gain of 5.
And I want to talk a little about Western secondary, because the Western Mustangs, their secondary, they're actually known for playing a lot of zone. But if you look right there at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see Richard Dubofor versus Raiden Thorne. And Richard Dubofor is actually playing a lot of man. He's manning up on Raiden Thorne because he knows, hey, this is an all-Canadian receiver who can break one at any chance he gets, doing what he can to get physical with Raiden Thorne and stop him from getting the ball.
Dubofor had 2 interceptions and 5 pass breakups last season for the Western Mustangs. Got drafted by the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 2024. Elgersma throws to Raiden Thorne. He makes the catch on the sideline. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Hawks. Parasolitis threw a massive block that you're about to see on your screen. So we'll get a 2nd and 10 here from the Hawks.
And you talk about, I just talked about the matchup of Dubofor and Raiden Thorne, and they're noticing, hey, Dubofor is out there on an island with Raiden Thorne. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to move Raiden Thorne around, get him open, help him create some space to get the ball. They were able to do that on that play, but he wasn't able to stay in bounds and hold on to the ball. 2nd down for the Laurier Golden Hawks. Let's see if Western can get a stop here and force a 3rd down.
2nd and long here for the Hawks from the Western 22-yard line. Elgersma resets and switches Jordan and Stebbings. Play action. Pass to Raiden Thorne, getting blocks up the middle, and he'll be close to the line to gain as he enters the Team Milovic Royal LePage red zone. We'll see where the spot is. They put it at the 11. And that will move the sticks for a 1st down. So the Golden Hawks 1st and 10 from the Western 11.
And we just saw number 10, Jackson Stebbins, come in there to help out Raiden Thorne. Great crack block on Richard Dubofor to open up Raiden Thorne on that screen pass and allow him to gain some yardage to pick up that 1st down.
Midway through the 2nd quarter, 7.5 to go in the 1st half. 14-0 Golden Hawks. They're knocking on the door again. And the back official will slow things down and talk to Henry Chu before the Golden Hawks can get that play off. But this Golden Hawks offense has looked really good to start. 10 of 11 for Taylor Elgersma for 190 yards and a touchdown. Ethan Jordan, 2 catches, 85 yards. Ojutalayo, 2 catches, 64 yards. Bassick Hayden, 20 yards on 3 carries on the ground. Mix that with how well this Laurier defense is playing. And the Golden Hawks feeling very good as they're on the 11, 1st and 10. 5 on the play clock for Elgersma. Drops back over the middle to the end zone. Jackson Stebbings couldn't turn around in time. 2nd and 10 for the Hawks.
Perfect look from Taylor Elgersma to Jackson Stebbings. Jackson Stebbings got open across the middle, but it looked like Taylor Elgersma may have threw it a little bit behind him. Jackson Stebbings tried to adjust in midair, make the catch, couldn't time it up. 2nd and 10. Let's see if the Western Mustangs defense can hold and force a 3rd down. They need this stop right here.
Stebbings out of the game. In comes Ryan Spate, who had a big hurdle catch last week for the Golden Hawks. Really big piece to not only the receiving core, but the tight end core as well. Elgersma over the middle. Jace Atkinson can't squeeze it. He dropped it in the end zone. 3rd and 10 for the Hawks, and on comes Dawson Hodge to attempt a field goal.
Taylor Elgersma, he's clapping right now at Jace Atkinson saying, hey, you got to come down with those. Taylor Elgersma stood in the pocket. He saw Jace Atkinson over the middle. He took a shot, a really hard shot, but got the ball out. It was in Jace Atkinson's hands. He just couldn't come down with it, and the Western Mustangs defense catches a break, comes up with the much-needed stop that they need to stay in this game, and they're going to see if they can get just only 3 points off Dawson Hodge, get the ball back for their offense, and only enter the middle of the 2nd quarter down maybe 17-0 as opposed to 21-0.
40-yarder was blocked earlier in this 2nd quarter. This one from 18 for Dawson Hodge. Up and good. It's a 17-0 lead for the Laurier Golden Hawks with 6:18 to go in the 1st half against the #1 team in the country, the Western Mustangs.
And for the Western Mustangs, they're lucky. They're lucky that this can be said to be only a 2-score game. This could easily be a 3 or 4-score game, right? And so a 3-score game. So for Western's defense to be able to come up with a stop on that last drive, accompanied by a couple of drops, a couple of underthrows, really lucky. Let's see now if Western can get some points on the board in this drive. I think it's just about getting points on the board to start the game, to head into halftime, have some points, whether it's a field goal, whether it's a touchdown. Let's see if Western can move the ball down the field. They've been struggling against this Laurier defense. Laurier's defense has been playing nearly perfect, but let's see if Western can show some shades of what they've shown us over the first 3 weeks.
Seth Robertson had a chance in the end zone. It falls incomplete. The next play, they had a holding call that pushed them back and then attempted a 52-yard field goal that was no good. And then Braden Misery with a big catch down the near sideline, but was called for the push-off. So some big plays taken off the board. The Yazbek run down to the 4-yard line was the play that the hold was called on. So Western's had some big plays taken off the board. It's almost going back to what we said after that first Western drive. You're comfortable with the 20 yards you gained. You're playing well. It's the execution and the little things that are falling short right now for the Mustangs, which are typically their bread and butter.
Exactly. They're one of the most disciplined teams in the country, but now you're seeing them, have points taken away from them by little penalties, such as offensive push-ups, such as holding. It's very uncharacteristic of a Greg Marshall-coached Western Mustangs team.
6:15 to go in half number 1. 17-0 lead for the Laurier Golden Hawks over Evan Hillock and the Western Mustangs. Play action to Edwards, rolls to his right. Hillock down the right sideline. Misery makes the catch across midfield and sidesteps Cote before going down at the Laurier 48. So a big play to Braden Misery, and the Western Mustangs moving the ball downfield quickly.
And the Western Mustangs, they ran outs on the field side of the field, and really and truly, all 3 receivers were open. Evan Hillock had his choice, but he said, hey, let me see if I can get as many yards as I can. Let me dump it out to Braden Misery and get the most yards I can, move the chains, move across field. Let's see what the Western Mustangs can do on this next play.
1st and 10 from the Laurier 48 for Evan Hillock. He keeps it himself on the fake to Kabongo. Tries to fire it downfield. It got tipped and falls incomplete. Hillock had a shot down the field. Chisenham in Sutem with the deflection.
Huge saving play by Chisholm on that one. Evan Hillock had Missouri down the field across the middle, and he might have been wide open. He was ready to shoot it. Chisholm got his hand on that, tipped it. Obviously, it wasn't a fumble, but a big saving play by that Laurier defense.
Well, if it was a fumble, Keon Edwards might have picked it up and gone for
a
touchdown, but they ruled it incomplete. 2nd and 10 from the Laurier 48 for Evan Hillock. High snap, has to corral it in the backfield, rolls to his right. Hillock fires, incomplete, 3rd and 10.
That's the second high snap of the day that we've seen from the Western Mustangs offense. Again, very uncharacteristic of this offense.
So now decision time. This would be a 55-yarder for Brian Garrity. Again, as long as 39 on the season. But he was hitting from that 52 to 55 range. But they will bring on Oliver Griffiths to punt this one away and try and pin Laurier deep. 5:28 to go in the second quarter. The Western Mustangs offense stalling out after a big catch and run by Braden Misery. Griffiths, the first-year 6'3", 210-pound punter from London. Transfer from Queens. End-over-end punt will bounce at the Laurier 14 and go out of bounds inside the 5. So a good punt there by the London, Ontario native, and the Golden Hawks will be backed up for the first time today.
Amazing punt, and if you're the Western Mustangs, you want to pin that Laurier defense as deep as possible, have them be on the 5-yard line. If they're going to somehow drive 95 yards for a touchdown, let it be 95 yards instead of 80 yards. So curious to see what Western's defense can do here. They've struggled a bit to shut down this Laurier offense. They've struggled a bit to stop the pass, so they're going to need the help with field positioning on this next drive.
And at what point, we talked about it before the game, at what point does the best defensive player in the country in Jackson Finley start to take over on the back end for this Mustangs team as Laurier has 1st and 10 on their own 5-yard line? Elgersma, handoff to Tanner Nelms, follows his lead, blocks. He doesn't have much. Pile rolls forward, a gain of 2, maybe 3, 2nd and long coming up for the Hawks.
And a big thing that we're seeing here, flag on the field, a big thing that we're seeing with Taylor Elgersma, he's throwing a lot of short passes. He's trying to avoid Jackson Finley because you know when you put that ball up, number 30 can travel east-west, he can travel north-south, and he can make a play. So they're truly trying their best to avoid Jackson Finley as much as possible, setting up the play action, short screens, stay away from number 30 as much as you can.
This is going to go against Laurier, so it's going to back him up. So an unnecessary roughness call against the Golden Hawks will put them at 2nd and 14 from their own 1-yard line. Again, another spot. We talked about it with Western. You want to get some yards just to keep Dawson Hodges back out of his end zone. Nelms and Elgersma in shotgun. You also want to take care of the football and not give up a defensive touchdown. Elgersma to pass. Fires to the near side for Ethan Jordan, and it falls incomplete. Couldn't squeeze it as he got hit.
And you know what, Jack? That was a similar play that Ethan Jordan actually ran. Similar route, similar corner route that Taylor Elgersma connected on with Ethan Jordan for that touchdown in the first quarter. Jacob Saunders was all over that, able to get in there, break up that pass, and prevent a Laurier Golden Hawks first down. And now they are forcing Laurier's punting unit to come onto the field.
And look, you would imagine Dawson Hodge will concede his safety here, make it a 15-point game, and give the Mustangs the ball back with 4.5 minutes to go in the first half, as opposed to punting this one away. Dawson Hodge, one of the better punters in the OUA, will take a knee in his own end zone. Averages 40 yards a punt. He was averaging about 45 last week, but it was the placement of the ball that was so impressive for the Hawks until he had a 25-yarder that went right out of bounds to give Guelph as little time as possible and no chance at a return late in that game. So the Western Mustangs get on the board on the safety. A great punt by Oliver Griffiths pins the Golden Hawks back. They take an unnecessary roughness, puts them back to their own 1-yard line, and Laurier has to concede the safety. It's back to a 2-possession game here for the Mustangs, who have the ball at their own 35-yard line with 4:22 to go in the first half.
And Jack, if I told you that Western's first points today would be a safety with 4 minutes and 22 seconds in the second quarter, would you have believed me? You probably would have thought I was crazy. There you go. You probably would have thought I was crazy, but that's the case. But hey, the Western Mustangs will take it. They got 4:15 left in this quarter. Let's see if they can drive down the field, build some momentum, and get some more points on the board.
Do they have a chance to capitalize? Another high snap corralled by Hillock, and Keon Edwards slips on the new turf here at University Stadium. A loss of 1 brings up 2nd and 11.
You just said it. I'll repeat it. Another high snap. Very uncharacteristic of this Western offense. And that slip right there, it brought back memories of the 2021 Vanier Cup. Do you remember that? Do you remember when the ice at Telus Stadium in Laval was covered, the field was covered in ice and everybody was slipping and sliding? That brought back memories of that day.
I was there on the field during warm-up and remembering all the Western players coming up to me and saying, this is going to be a tough one. New turf here at University Stadium this season. Hillock over the middle, finds Robertson who goes down. Owen gets with the tackle, but a gain of 15 yards and a 1st and 10 for the Mustangs.
And Keon Edwards was able to make good on that, or Evan Hillock was able to make good on that overthrown pass that he had to Seth Robinson in the first quarter over the middle, finds Seth Robinson, doesn't overthrow it, or underthrow it, puts it right in his hands, and it's a 1st down for the Western Mustangs marching down the field.
Evan Hillock 1st and 10 from his own 50. Edwards gets a handoff here. He'll get chopped down across the 55, and he'll come up 3 yards short of the line to gain. 2nd and 3. Flags flying on the field after the play from both back officials as a Mustang down on the field. Sebastian Sebald, 6'7", 380-pound Western Mustang, down on the field, and multiple flags flew from the secondary. Mustangs coach is talking with the referees.
We'll see what this call is, but very pivotal for Western on this drive. At this point in the game, 3 minutes left in this half, looking to drive down the field, put points on the board heading into halftime. Very crucial call coming up.
They're taking a look at his right leg. They were trying to stabilize his right knee as they flipped him over from his stomach to his back. Here's the call from Henry Chu.
Unnecessary roughness, Laurier 25, blocking board away, 15 yards, 1st down, 3 minutes.
So Jahari Hastings, one of the defensive captains for this Golden Hawk team, called on the penalty. It's a 15-yard unnecessary roughness call. Western coaching staff still up in arms with the referee as Sebald down on the turf, and talking with some of the Laurier coaches before the game how important he is to this Western offensive line. 6'7", 380, he can move, and he's athletic to get in front of your face, and you can see the pain on his face as he's limping off to the Western sideline with help from some of his teammates. So a 1st and 10 here for the Mustangs, but you're hoping for the health of Sebastian Sebald. 3-minute warning of half number 1. It's a 17-2 lead for the Laurier Golden Hawks. 1st and 10 from the Laurier 37-yard line for Evan Hillock. Keon Edwards in the backfield at running back. Hillock resets and gives the audible to his offensive line. Hillock steps up, fires down the sideline for Keon Edwards, just out of his reach. He had a step on Jesse Wilkins, but it falls incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And Jack, I want to talk to you about how important that unnecessary roughness call is, because what it did is it brings you from midfield, which is probably not field goal range for Brian Garrity, and gives Laurier's what it gave Laurier's defense a chance to get the ball back. And what it does is it moves you to the 37, which is definitely within field goal range for Brian Garrity. So huge call, might be able to be the call that allows Western to walk away with points on this drive. Might be 3, might be more. Let's see right here.
2nd and 10. It would be a 44-yard field goal attempt from here, and the Golden Hawks are going to have to burn a timeout, their first of the first half. They only had 11 on the field. They're missing a defensive end as Omari Hastings comes on late for the Golden Hawks.
And on that last play that Western actually ran, first time we saw Keon Edwards really leave the backfield and get out into the open field, run that wheel route. You know, Keon Edwards, his receiving game is extremely underrated. During his OUA MVP campaign 2 years ago, he had over 500 yards receiving in addition to his over 1,000 yards rushing. So really interested to see Keon Edwards for the first time in a long time really get out into the field and become a receiver as a part of this passing attack.
Points could be crucial here on this drive for the Western Mustangs with 2:39 left to go in the first half and trailing the Golden Hawks 17-2. OUA.ca is your source for scores, stats, schedules, and stories from around the conference, spanning 20 members, 22 sports, and 38 championships. The online hub for OUA information helps fans dive deeper into your favorite sports, teams, and standouts from around the conference. Visit OUA.ca to learn more. 2nd and 10 for Evan Hillock from the Laurier 37-yard line. Keon Edwards stays in at running back. And he'll hand it off to Edwards up the middle, driving himself forward before getting knocked down at the Laurier 29 as Edwards' helmet flies off at the end of the play. A 3rd and 2 and another decision time here, and it looks like they'll go for it with a heavy package.
And Jahari Hastings has been all over the field today. I think he's been in every single big play that we've seen today. Got into the pile there, was the one that took down Keon Edwards, also was the one that took off his helmet. Seeing Evan Hillock stay on the field, they won't choose to go with Jerome Rancourt. Let's see what they can do here on 3rd and short.
3rd and 2 from the Laurier 29 for the Western Mustangs to extend the drive. High snap, handoff, Yazbek steps away from defenders, chopped down, and he'll be short. They mark him, and they might have to measure it, but it looked like he was short of the line to gain from here.
It's going to be close.
Henry Chu spots the ball, and they will bring out the chain gang to measure this one.
What a huge tackle by Malik Kote to stop Keanu Yazbek and force this measurement right here to see if this Laurier offense will get the ball back with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the second quarter.
From where I'm sitting, it looked like they spotted that ball a little bit more forward from where he went down with it. But Keon Edwards right there as Henry Chu stabilizes it. Big decision here decided by the Chains with 2:25 to go in the first half.
Here we go.
Short by a yard.
It's short.
The Golden Hawks defense stands tall, and they force a turnover on downs. Keanu Yazbek chopped down by Malik Kote, and the Golden Hawks take over at their own 28-yard line.
Once again, bend but don't break. Unnecessary roughness call that brought them in to field goal range. Malik Kote made a key tackle on 3rd down, one-on-one with Keanu Yazbek. One-on-one, came down with the tackle, forced Keanu Yazbek to be short and get that Laurier defense back on the field to potentially close out this half, up 17-2 right now.
Well, and that's how well this Laurier defense has played the entire first half. That safety points came because of a great punt by Oliver Griffiths and then an undisciplined play by the Golden Hawks deep in their own end on the penalty to put them at their own 1. This Laurier defense has been phenomenal against the best team in the country. Elgersma keeps it himself. Off to Jackson Stebbings in the flat. Forced out of bounds by Adu before. A gain of 6 will bring up 2nd and 4.
And Jack, we talk about Laurier's defense and how good they've been today. Let's talk about the coaches they have on defense. Kwaku Boateng, right? They got Willa Moa. They got Trayvon James. They got S.A. Marbury. They have coaches on this defense that were a part of the Yates Cup winning team in 2016. Defensive players that have been with this program, that have won, and are coming back now to give back to this program and help this program try to win a Yates Cup in 2024.
2nd and 4 here for the Hawks. Make that 2nd and 5 from their own 33. Handoff to Tanner Nelms up the middle. Driving forward, he'll be short by a yard. So it's a 3rd down here for the Hawks, and you'd imagine Dawson Hodge will come out to punt this one away. You talked about the defensive coaching staff. Of course, Mike Daly and Matt Robichaud both played with the Hamilton Ticats in the Canadian Football League. Christian Curiata, who is the linebacker coach and does a phenomenal job with the Cambridge Lions U18 team in the Ontario Summer Football League. And then obviously the man at the helm, Ron Van Moorkirk, who's been at Laurier since 1986 as a player and a coach and really only missed a couple of years. That high punt, Daniel Kabongo from his own 35, and he gets stuffed down at the 42. But really for this Golden Hawks, the defense over the last number of years has consistently been the unit where you say, this is where we're comfortable, our offense has to figure it out. And that was the question coming into this season for this Laurier Golden Hawks team. Will this young defensive core be able to figure it out in a year where the offense returns 12 of 12 starters?
Yeah, a young defense, lost their OUA All-Stars, lost their All-Canadians. You said the oldest linebacker is 19 years old, right? And right now, they're really balling against the number one team in the country where it matters the most.
So 1st and 10 for the Western Mustangs from their own 42-yard line. Also to mention, Ron Van Markerk was the defensive coordinator in 2005 when the Golden Hawks won the Vanier Cup. He's been around a while. The offensive coordinator of that team, Steph Potasic, is Evan Hillock quickly out to the far side. And Mohsen Jamal makes the catch and dives forward for a gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
Evan Hillock getting it out to Mohsen Jamal right there on the flats. Mohsen Jamal is able to break a tackle, not pick up the first down, but a stable 7-yard gain. Really and truly for the Western Mustangs, it's take what we can get at this point because we know this defense is going to be stubborn. Take what we can get, whether it be a 5-yard pickup, a 2-yard pickup, a 1-yard pickup, whether it's through the air or on the ground, take what we can get.
2nd and 3 after the gain of 7 from Mohsen Jamal. Play action to Edwards. Hillock to the far side of the field, out of bounds, looking for Jamal again. 3rd and 3 now for Greg Marshall. And they'll have to punt this one away. Marshall took the headset off one of his assistant coaches and wants to talk to his coaches up here at the media deck level.
And you know, Jack, as we wind down into halftime, let's not forget the Western Mustangs they're known to be the best second half team in USports or OUA football. It's always about what does that second half switch up look like for the Western Mustangs. We'll see what adjustments they make coming out of the half.
Nice high spiraling punt and a no yards flag going against the Western Mustangs as the return goes up to the 32-yard line. So we'll see the Golden Hawks offense come back onto the field on their own side of half. Emmanuel Gunmifun on the return for the Golden Hawks, picking it after Tayshawn Jackson let it hit the turf. So 5 yards from the end of the play, 1st and 10 Golden Hawks from their own 37 with 1:30 to go in half number 1.
And I think for the Laurier Golden Hawks, the priority here is protect the, don't turn over the ball. Hold on.
Self forward for a gain 4, brings up 2nd and 6.
Adam Nelm, such a reliable running back for this Laurier Golden Hawks offense. A welcomed return back to an offense that was looking to run it back and try to win a Yates Cup. And again, one of the more reliable running backs in the OUA, picking up 6.1 yards per carry, basically leading you to a first down on half the time. Right, so to be able to see him on the field and see how important he's going to be over these next 1 minute 19 seconds to hold on to that ball and control the pace, let's tune in right here.
2nd and 6, Elgersma to pass. Fires that one out complete. Ethan Jordan makes a man miss and gets chopped down at midfield by Jackson Finley. So a first down for the Hawks with 1:06 to go in the first half. And I'll tell you what, any other safety in the country, I don't know if he makes that tackle.
Absolutely. And this is Ethan Jordan's best game of the season so far. But now with that big catch, what it does with 1 minute left in this half is now it changes the scenario, right? Instead of protecting the ball, now you can maybe see if you can push into field goal range and give Dawson Hodge a chance to put 3 on the board.
1st and 10 from the Western 54-yard line for Taylor Elgersma. He'll pass it again. He's got Raiden Thorne down the field. Makes the catch inside the Western 40. And another first down for the Hawks. 44 seconds to go in the half.
And once again, another reception. The situation changes. Now you're in field goal range. And now it's, do you settle for a field goal or why not just go straight for the end zone? Big catch there by your 2 All-Canadians back-to-back. Ethan Jordan, Raiden Thorne. Let's see what Taylor Elgersma and this Laurier offense does on this next play.
1st and 10, play action in Elms. Elgersma steps away from the defender. Over the middle, he couldn't find Thorne. Stretching out to try and make the catch, but it falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 for the Hawks. 35 seconds left in the half.
And Taylor Elgersma had Jace Atkinson on the slip route, but he saw Raiden Thorne over the middle and wanted to go for it all, went for it all, couldn't get it all. 2nd down and 10.
Jace Atkinson out of the game. Sebastian Parcelidis and Ryan Spate into the game. So 2 tight ends, and then Ojitalayo, Jordan, and Thorne out as the receivers for the Hawks. 2nd and 10 from the Western 37-yard line. Elgersma Steps away from pressure before he gets wrapped up and dropped at his own 44, and that might take the Hawks out of field goal range. 30 seconds to go, and a third and very long coming up for the Golden Hawks. How aggressive does Michael Folds get as Greg Marshall calls a timeout?
Timeout. Western. Their first timeout of the half.
And what it's going to come down to, for me, in my opinion, it's going to come to that decision that Taylor Elgersma made on that last play to go to Raiden Thorne instead of Jace Atkinson. Right, he went for the big play instead of the safe play in the flats and got sacked on this next play out of field goal range, 3rd and 17. And now it looks like they might be going for a field goal attempt.
Dawson Hodge came out and put the puck down at the 51-yard line. So it looks like he might be attempting a season long here. Remember, he had one blocked from 40 earlier in this second quarter. He hit from 18. But now trying to make it a 3-score game with 30 seconds to go. 51 yards left hash from Dawson Hodge to extend the lead to 18 for the Hawks. Daniel Kabongo deep to return for the Western Mustangs. Golden Hawks will line up with Hodge punting this one away now. And a high onside punt attempt for the Golden Hawks as Jackson Finley gets it down at the 22-yard line. Flags fly. They have to throw the flags. They have to determine if Laomi Ojatalayo was behind Dawson Hodge when he punted it.
And for those watching who don't know what the Laurier Golden Hawks tried to do, was they tried to do a punt where the receivers would be behind Dawson Hodge. And if the receivers are behind Dawson Hodge, the punter, it makes them eligible to pick up the punt. So the receivers were onside, but Western clearly recovered the ball, and now they get to keep the ball with 20 seconds left.
Laomi Ojatalayo couldn't beat Jackson Finley to the ball on that onside punt attempt, but 51-yard attempt for Dawson Hodge might be just outside his range. And instead, the Western Mustangs take over at their own 24 with 23 seconds to go in the half. Hillock will pass. He'll go down the sideline. Braden Misery can't make the catch. It was too far in front of him. 2nd and 10.
Evan Hillock said, let's take a shot. Let's take one shot before halftime. Let's see if we can pick up some yards. Let's see if we can make something happen. Look for Misery on that same similar fly route that he caught earlier, but was a pass interference, offensive pass interference, and this time it was overthrown by Evan Hillock.
It looked like on that one he gave a little shove to Malik Cote again, seeing how
call,
far
though.
he can reach. 2nd and 10 for Hillock from his own 24. Looks to his right this time and steps up in the pocket. Fires it into the dirt, 3rd and 10. The big fundamental Matt Caruso getting in the backfield, and Western has to punt this away with 13 seconds to go, and you wonder if Oliver Griffiths is told, kick this one out of bounds and keep it out of Tayshaun Jackson's hands.
I don't know who would want to kick it to Tayshaun Jackson after what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. We've seen, Griffiths punt it out of bounds over the course of the first half. Hasn't kicked it much to Tayshaun Jackson. I don't expect him to do that, especially when Tayshaun Jackson is lined up on the 45-yard line. That could put Laurier into field goal range if he gets off a good return. So let's see if he kicks this out of bounds.
It was an incomplete pass, so the clock doesn't start until the snap of the ball. Griffiths punts this one away, and he will give Jackson a chance to return it from his own 44. Tayshaun Jackson up the middle of the field and down at the 55 with 3 seconds to go in the half. So do you take a knee or do you take a shot if you're Michael Folds?
Do you have much to lose if you take a shot?
The interception return for a touchdown.
Hasn't happened this season, but you never know. Especially when you got number 30 back there.
Taylor Elgersma motions to Henry Chu that he will take a knee on the snap. So the Golden Hawks are going to take the 17-2 lead into the half. And Henry Chu waves the flag. The first half is over. The number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks with a 17-2 lead over the number 1 ranked team in the country, the Western Mustangs. And Deshaun, an uncharacteristic first half from the Western Mustangs, but a really dominating defensive performance here for the Golden Hawks.
Yes, uncharacteristic, but we have to remember, with the Western Mustangs, it's all about halftime adjustments. There were many times last season where the Western Mustangs entered halftime down and were able to come back in the second half with that powerful surge of adjustments. So for the Laurier Golden Hawks, I think for them in the third quarter, it's all about overcoming the surge that they know will come their way in the third quarter. Can they overcome Western's halftime adjustments in the third quarter?
It's the OUA marquee matchup. It's the USports football game of the week. It's the number 1 Western Mustangs down 17-2 against the number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks. We'll return with your second half in about 15 minutes' time. You're watching Laurier Golden Hawk football on OUA TV.
Where exceptional student athletes are born, where records are broken, where great plays are made, where school colors ignite passion, where champions prevail, where tradition is celebrated, Ontario University Athletics.
Laurier sets students for success and a successful future.
Co-op, a field placement, extra education.
Not something that you just read in a textbook. You actually get to apply that in a lab setting, and that's really helpful for actually building your knowledge.
We were able to network with people that worked in the industry. I'm already gaining the experience I need to start working right away as I get out of university.
Realtor Mike is your touchdown connection for all your real estate needs in Kitchener-Waterloo. Realtor Mike and T. Milvick is your official real estate partner of Wilfrid Laurier Athletics and Recreation. Contact us for all your real estate needs.
In every step, there's potential. Every mile holds opportunity. For those who seek the rush of the open road, we understand the power of the perfect stride. Because when you find the right fit, there's no limit to where you can go. Discover your stride at Runner's Choice, Waterloo.
What makes Laurier awesome is all the stuff you can do here, all the different events. You can get involved in so many different ways. There's so many different clubs on campus that you can get involved in, no matter what your interests are. It's great to be a Laurier Golden Hawk.
looking forward to a great evening. It's a chance to obviously celebrate all the successes from this last year. We're really here, and the work we do is on behalf of the student athletes and their coaches. So a special shout out to the student athletes and the coaches in the room today.
She helped lead her team to the Quigley Cup title. The 23-24 OUA Athlete of the Year is Brock Badger's volleyball standout, Sarah Roy. He was first team OUA All-Star, the 23-24 OUA Athlete of the Year from the Guelph Griffins, Max Davis.
Sport has changed society. Sport does reproduce the dominant values in society, but that means if we get it right, then we become part of that. And so a good message tonight is a big thank you to our OUA staff who was charged with dealing with the biggest conference in the country to make it work.
To my colleagues I've worked with in this room my whole time while at U Ottawa, thank you. It has been my pleasure to meet you, to learn from every single one of you, to get to know you, to share some good laughs together, and probably some tears too, through tough moments that we've all supported one another.
Congratulations to the 2023-24 JP Loosemore Award recipient, Carleton University's Jennifer Brennan.
I've been working in this industry for 36 years. It's been an incredible career. I've been so blessed and fortunate to work with so many great people, those that look out for me, those that welcomed me, and those that have supported me. Thank the OUA staff and Gord for this incredible honor.
It's a real pleasure to look back on everything that the folks in this room have accomplished here tonight over the course of the 23-24 OUA season. And it's really exciting to look forward. We've got some time off now, but we get to do it all again for the 24-25 season.
I chose Laurier because we're going to be getting real-life hands-on experience. The co-op program is really helpful because it kind of gets you in a real-world situation before you graduate. It definitely gives me a head start in the business world.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
Realtor Mike and Team Millivan is your official real estate partner of Wilfrid Laurier Athletics and Recreation. Contact us for all your real estate needs.
The Laurier community is like no other. Everyone is there to help each other.
What I love most about Laurier is definitely the people.
There's always smiling faces and waves to be shared.
You feel like you have a place. You feel like you matter.
It's a warm feeling in your heart.
I belong.
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 Saying I belong carries significance.
It goes beyond individual or team performance.
It
touches on the broader social context of the representation within sport.
Saying I belong conveys a powerful message.
A message of empowerment, resilience, and the breaking of barriers.
Signifies determination to overcome obstacles
and succeed in an environment that may not always be inclusive
or representative of diverse backgrounds.
Saying I belong asserts the right to be recognized, respected, and valued.
It hides a desire to challenge stereotypes and to promote diversity.
It inspires others from similar backgrounds
to pursue their dreams in sport while feeling supported.
Saying I belong can also serve as a reminder to the sports community.
A reminder of the importance of inclusivity, equal opportunity.
And create an environment that celebrates and embraces diversity.
It can pave the way for greater representation
and contribute to positive change in the industry.
Saying I belong is a powerful affirmation
that everyone has a rightful place in the sport.
Laurier has a wide range of programs as well as minors and options for students. I feel career ready because all the theories I'm learning in the classroom have really been taught to me and applied to real world situations.
It's go time, Golden Hawks. Realtor Mike and T. Milvick is your official real estate partner of Wilfrid Laurier Athletics and Recreation. Contact us for all your real estate needs.
Back inside University Stadium, it's a 17-2 lead for the number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks over the number 1 Western Mustangs. Jack Moore and Deshaun Stevens along with you on OUA TV. And Deshaun, you look at the first half stats, Taylor Elgersma, phenomenal first half for the Hawks, slinging the ball around the field.
Yeah, this is the OUA MVP that we've come to know and familiarize ourselves with. Taylor Elgersma in the first half, 13 for 18, 227 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and has completed 72.2% of his passes. This is by far his best passing performance so far of the season.
Well, we're talking about a guy who broke the conference record for completion percentage last year. Remember, he had 218 yards in week 1 against the McMaster Marauders. He threw for 241 in week number 3 against the Guelph Griffins here at University Stadium, already at 227. On the other side of the ball, offense struggling a little bit for the Western Mustangs. There have been some opportunities, but penalties, drop balls in the end zone, down the field, and the Western Mustangs offense really hasn't figured it out, but they're only down by 15 going into this second half.
Yeah, offensively, Evan Hillock has struggled immensely, only 7 for 16, only throwing for 87 passing yards in the first half and completing only 43% of his passes. But like you said, they're only down 15. They're only down 2 possessions. So if you're the Western Mustangs, after the first half you just had, you're not panicking because you're like, hey, we're only down by 2 scores after all those mistakes. So for the Western Mustangs, can they start fresh? Can they start anew? And can they get themselves on the board with some touchdowns in this third quarter?
Western Mustangs will kick this one away to start half number 2. If you weren't watching from the beginning of the broadcast, the Mustangs received the first half kickoff, and then Keanu Yazbek ran it 20 yards down the field from the original line of scrimmage before Jahari Hastings punched the ball out, and the Golden Hawks got the ball, went down, and scored a touchdown. So now the Golden Hawks get the ball to start half number 2. What's the mindset for Todd Galloway in this offense coming into half number 2? Because it felt like as the game and the first half progressed, Western's defense got a little bit more comfortable. Laurier's offense got a little bit more complacent.
Well, I'll tell you what the mindset is. The mindset is, let's think back to last year's Yates Cup. Last year's Yates Cup, we went up at halftime with the lead. They are now up at halftime, coming out of halftime with the lead. Can we overcome the halftime adjustments that the Western Mustangs are about to come with and close out this game and get a win over Mustang for the first time since 2005 in the regular season?
Brian Garrity to boot this one away for Western, and a deep kick. Tayshawn Jackson at his own goal line. Tayshawn Jackson gets a block, and he'll hit it up the middle. Breaks through a tackle before being chopped down at the 28-yard line. So the Golden Hawks offense coming onto the field to start this second half. We talked about Elgersma, who of course 13 of 18 for 227 yards through the air. Ethan Jordan, 3 catches, 100 yards. Of course, that 72-yard touchdown pass from Taylor Elgersma. But Laomi Ojetalaya with 2 big catches in the first half, and 3 running backs getting some action on the ground, and Darian Bastick, Hayden, Tanner Nelms, and Jace Atkinson as a receiver getting a rush as well. Elgersma 1st and 10 from his own 28-yard line with Tanner Nelms in the backfield. Golden Hawks reset after the hard count. Handoff up the middle to Nelms. He has a crease, and he gets across the 35. Looks like it's a gain of 9, and that'll be 2nd and 1 coming up for the Golden Hawks.
Start off slow, hand it off to Tanner Nelms. Remember, 6.1 yards per carry, got you the first down. Let's see if the Laurier Golden Hawks can develop a rhythm here coming out of halftime, or redevelop a rhythm here to try to continue the momentum that they had in the first half and drive their way down the field. Let's see how this Western defense reacts. Let's see how that secondary reacts to the passing attack. Richard Udobefor at your bottom screen right there.
2nd and 1. Handoff to Nelms, and he'll drive himself forward for a first down, and the Golden Hawks with a fresh set on the sticks.
So it seems like Laurier just wants to really, again, control the pace, right? Control the pace of this game, hand it off to Tanner Nelms, and again, use the run to establish the pass. Don't be surprised if in a couple of plays you see Tanner Nelms fake the handoff and look downfield for a big shot to either Raiden Thorne or Ethan Jordan once again, just like he did in the first half.
Western Mustangs defensive front goes with 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. Taylor Elgersma, play action to Nelms, and a flag flies. I think this is going to be a full start against the Hawks, which will push him back 1st and 15.
And that was one of the halftime adjustments that we kind of just keyed on right there. You said it. They're going 3-4. In the first half, they were going 4-3. Right, so they're going more relaxed. Procedure on Laurier. That procedure on Laurier is going to push them back, but you're seeing Western is choosing to rush less and have more people in the backfield to cover that passing attack that's really, really hampered them in the first half.
One of those things where you don't think too much about it, but adding that extra defender in coverage, if you drop 9 as opposed to 8, really shortens those windows.
Absolutely.
First and 15 for Taylor Elgersma from his own 37. He'll hand it off to Nelms up the middle, and he'll get that yardage back. Gain of 5, 2nd and 10.
And Jude Buchanan right there, number 7, was actually in there to make that play on Tanner Nelms. If he didn't make that tackle, Tanner Nelms might have broke that off for 15 or maybe 20 yards.
Laurier offensive line, who had a good first half in their own right. A few hits on Taylor Elgersma, but you know you're going to be in a physical battle in the trenches when these two teams match up. Talk about Cody Blackshaw, the starting center, turned 19 in August. He took over as the starting center last season for Laurier. Elgersma over the middle. Jace Atkinson makes the catch and makes 2 men miss. Down to the Western 36-yard line.
And that play comes down to timing. Taylor Elgersma stood in the pocket. Obviously, you saw Western was only rushing 3. He stands in the pocket, and Jace Atkinson is in the middle of 3 defenders. Taylor Elgersma times it perfectly, finds that pocket, picks up the first down, and Laurier's rolling.
First and 10 from the 36. Elgersma finds Rayden Thorne, getting some blocks and gets to the sideline, where he goes down right at the 25, right at the line to gain. And he'll be half a yard short. It's going to be 2nd and short here for the Hawks.
And remember, Rayden Thorne right now is on an island with number 25, Richard Odubafor, who's one of the better shutdown physical corners in the OUA. So they're going to run that screen game to get Rayden Thorne involved, get some screens over there and blocks to free him up from Richard Odubafor, get the ball in his hands, get him warmed up, and try to make use of him because, again, he is an all-Canadian receiver, and you cannot have an all-Canadian receiver not touch the ball if you want to beat the Western Mustangs.
2nd and inches here for the Hawks from the Western 26. Nelms up the middle, has the first down. Gain of 4, and the Golden Hawks move the sticks again, so a good job here in the first half, moving the ball down the field by the Laurier Golden Hawks offense. And we have an injured Mustang down on the field. It is a hot day here today in Uptown Waterloo. Very stark contrast to what we saw last week, where these two teams competing on what was cold, dreary days in Waterloo and London. Today has been very hot, 28 degrees down on the field, even hotter on the turf. So these guys, the importance of the athletic therapy teams, a lot of them student athletic therapists for these two teams, making sure the players stay hydrated to try and put on the best performances possible in a marquee matchup, the OUA marquee matchup, as well as the USports football game of the week. Soren Hulschmidt off the turf and walking off under his own power, which is good to see. And we'll have a 1st and 10 for the Hawks from their opponent's 22-yard line.
And listen, for Western Mustangs, again, hot day, but this is their 4th straight week playing. They have not even touched their bye week yet. They've gone 4 straight games over 4 straight weeks. So for them, it's all about staying healthy, getting into the bye week in one piece.
1st and 10 for Elgersma. He's got Tanner Nelms in the backfield with him. From the Western 22, Elgersma over the middle, Ethan Jordan, touchdown! 22-yard strike from the MVP to the first team All-Canadian, and the Golden Hawks get a major to start the second half.
You see on this play, Taylor Elgersma, he looks through his reads, he looks at Rayden Thorne, sees he's covered, finds Ethan Jordan right underneath the safety, Jackson Finley. That's the first time we might have seen a quarterback challenge Jackson Finley like that. But Ethan Jordan, like you said, an All-Canadian, comes down with the pass into the end zone to put the Golden Hawks up. It was soon to be 24-2 in the 3rd quarter. Laurier's passing game is on it today.
It's interesting because before the game, as Dawson Hodge hits the extra point for the 3rd time today, we had this conversation where Golden Hawks offense so far this season hasn't looked like it's clicked. They've scored 65 points on the year, but the offense hasn't looked like it's clicked. And the conversation went to, well, last year it was week 3, game 3 against the Guelph Griffins that turned the offense around and got it going in the direction where it became one of the most dominant offenses in the country. This is game 3 for the Laurier Golden Hawks. Taylor Elgersma is 16 of 21 for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. this team has started to figure it out in Game 3 in 2024.
And I think they started to figure it out when it matters the most. Right, they got past McMaster in week 1. They got past Guelph last week after the bye.
A much improved Guelph Griffins team.
Absolutely, with Marshall McCray at the helm. And now you're up against the #1 team in the country. You have to bring your best shot if you even want to sniff a victory. And today the Laurier Golden Hawks have really brought it together and are putting on really and truly one of their better performances of the season so far, and really is reminiscent of what we've seen last season.
Kabongo 2 yards deep in his end zone on the Dawson Hodge kickoff. Daniel Kabongo chopped down just shy of the 25.
And this is it. I know there's 10 minutes and 44 seconds left in the third quarter. We still have an entire half of football left to play, but one can't question whether or not it's time for the Western Mustangs to really start putting something on the board, really start putting points on the board. These are the crucial possessions for the Western Mustangs because this Laurier Golden Hawks defense and offense right now is on it. They are on it. And you know that offense is going to be putting up more points as the game goes on. So right now, Evan Hillock and this offense needs to respond to that Taylor Elgersma touchdown.
Kojo Kadua had the big hit on Daniel Kabongo on kickoff coverage. 1st and 10 Western from their own 25. Hillock back to pass. Omari Hastings in the backfield. A flag flies at the end of the play. And it looks like it's going to be a face mask against Omari Hastings.
And Evan Hillock looks just a bit shaken up after that play.
Omari Hastings, who got home, got a clip of Evan Hillock's mask. We talked about this pregame. The left shoulder for Evan Hillock, heavily taped. Of course, an injury lingering back from last season. And like you mentioned, slow to get up, and he doesn't look as comfortable as he has in the past, standing in the pocket right now. 1st and 10 from their own 40 for the Mustangs. They hand off to 2022 OUA MVP Keon Edwards, who gets chopped down at the 49, a gain of 9. 2nd and 1 for the Mustangs.
What a collision between Jahari Hastings and Keon Edwards in the hole right there. Keon Edwards able to pick up yardage, and now we're going to see if Western can continue to find some momentum on offense. Handing it off to your former OUA MVP. Trying to toss the ball with Evan Hillock. We see Jerome Rancourt coming in now on a short yardage situation, and I think Western's offense knows what's coming, but Laurier's defense also knows what's coming as well.
Wincing face from Evan Hillock as he trotted off to the sideline to stand beside head coach Greg Marshall. 2nd and 1, Jerome Rancourt in under center for the Mustangs. 6'5", 250-pound quarterback. Scampers out to the left, gets a 1st down, and goes down in midfield.
And that's really reminiscent of what Jerome Rancourt always does. He runs up to center.
To go straight up the middle, but at 6'5", 250, he can scamper out to his left and get a good run going. Keon Edwards on the handoff, breaks a tackle, and drives up to the left side across the 50. It's a gain of 7, 2nd and 3 coming up for the Mustangs.
2 big runs back-to-back with Keon Edwards to move the chains, give the Western Mustangs some momentum. Let's see if they can continue to capitalize as they enter the Laurier Golden Hawks side of the field. 2nd and 3. Let's see what they do right here.
Golden Hawks open the second half with a touchdown drive like they did in half number 1. Mustangs looking to respond down 24-2. Hillock, handoff to Edwards, finds a hole on the left side, and he'll bounce it to the outside. He gets forced out of bounds by Malik Cote, and that will be enough for a 1st down for the Mustangs.
And these are the things that Keon Edwards did to make himself an OUA MVP caliber running back in 2022. Break tackles, take advantage of holes in the front 7, find 1st downs, and move the chains to keep his team alive on drives. As Evan Hillock struggles, Keon Edwards has given this offense life and momentum with 8:21 left in the third quarter.
8 carries for 48 yards. Hillock back to pass down the far side. Seth Robertson, touchdown!
Seth Robertson goes up and gets it, and the Mustangs respond from 37 yards out. Evan Hillock with the touchdown throw, his first of the day.
The Western Mustangs have life. Evan Hillock took advantage of the Western Mustangs offense setting up the run. You saw the play action pass. Evan Hillock stepped in the pocket, found Seth Robertson down the sideline, wide open, untouched for a touchdown to give the Western Mustangs their first score of the game in the end zone.
He'll hold on this Brian Garrity extra point attempt, but Seth Robertson, who dropped one in that same end zone in the first quarter,
which was heavily contested,
gets one in the third quarter, and the Western Mustangs get 7 on the board. It's a 24-9 game with 8:12 to go in quarter number 3, but a big drive there for the momentum and the mood on that Mustang sideline.
They needed it. They absolutely needed it, and now we're back to it being essentially a 2-score game once again, and now all eyes are on this Western defense. Can they stop that Laurier offense led by Taylor Elgersma that is rolling, that has momentum, that is moving down the field with ease? Can they shut down the run? Can they stop the pass? And can they get the ball back for Evan Hillock, Keon Edwards, and their offense to try to stay in this game?
Western's first touchdown of the game, a 37-yard touchdown throw from Evan Hillock, who's up to 124 yards and a touchdown in the game. Seth Robertson has been the number 1 target, 4 catches for 74 yards, and that was his longest of the day, 37. Big major there for the Western Mustangs to get momentum and get that morale up on the near sideline here at University Stadium. Brian Garrity to kick this one away. Tayshawn Jackson back at his own 3. Right up the middle and looking for blocks before being chopped down. So the Golden Hawks will take over at their own 28-yard line.
And now this next drive is key for the Laurier Golden Hawks offense. You know the Western Mustangs are coming with momentum as we have an injured player down there on the field.
Looked like Ethan Dolby, but we will see here another injured Mustang down on the field being worked on by the athletic therapy staff for Western. Laurier taking over 1st and 10 on their own 28. 8:05 to go in quarter number 3, and half number 1, they got the ball after the forced fumble. They go down the field, they score a touchdown, and it is Ethan Dolby popping up and walking off under his own power to the bench, the 3rd-string running back for the Western Mustangs. He got the play action on that Seth Robertson touchdown. The Golden Hawks' second drive of the first half was their last touchdown of half number 1 on that 72-yard Ethan Jordan touchdown. So Laurier for the second time on offense looking to respond after Western finished their last drive in the end zone. 1st and 10 from their own 28, Tanner Nelms driving himself forward and following the blocks. Gain of 4, maybe 5, second and manageable here for Elgersma.
And reminiscent of how they really set up the last drive. You start that last drive, hand it off to Tanner Nelms, control the momentum of the game, let him pick up 6.1 yards per carry or find a first down, and then you setting up the run to help establish the pass off the play action.
Couple substitutions here for the Golden Hawks. Stebbings, Atkinson, Ojitalayo to the near side. Jordan and Thorne to the far side for Elgersma. 2nd and 5. Elgersma fires. Rayton Thorne makes the catch, and a flag flies behind the play. Ball got up to the 45-yard line, a gain of 12. Josh Rietveld looks to be the man in question here for the Golden Hawks. And it will be holding against Laurier.
And on that play, Richard Adubafor, who has taken on the challenge of taking on Rayton Thorne for the majority of the game, was not on the field. Jacob Saunders was actually the one covering Rayton Thorne on that pass. And so Rayton Thorne ran an easy hitch route over the middle. Taylor Elgersma finds Rayton Thorne for the first down. Obviously, the penalty takes the ball back. But clearly, they're making use of not having Richard Adubafor on the field and trying to make use of having their all-Canadian receiver in a mismatch.
2nd and 15 for Elgersma. Steps up in the pocket off to his right. He's going to keep it himself. Taylor Elgersma driving himself forward. He gets chopped down across the 35. He'll be short of the line to gain. Depends how short and how adventurous Michael Folds wants to get here. 3rd and 1 here, and they bring out the punting unit. So Jason McGugan, Dawson Hodge, and the punting unit onto the field on 3rd and 1 from their own 37-yard line.
And barring any trickery from, Laurier's special teams unit, this might be the stop that Western needed to get the ball back for their offense and stay alive in this football game.
We saw the Guelph Griffins run a fake punt from here last week in a similar situation. But Dawson Hodge will boot this one away. High spiraling punt. Daniel Kabongo back at his own 24. He'll cut it to the near side of the field and try and outrun defenders. Kabongo cut back inside. Gets away from McGugan and gets a block down the sideline. As a flag flies, he gets chopped down by Dawson Hodge. So we will see this one come back against the Mustangs after the block in the back. And Richard Adubafor is limping off to the Western sideline. So a lot going on there. A good return for Daniel Kabongo. Jacob Bennett down on the field for the Golden Hawks, back at the Western 17-yard line. And in all of that hecticness, Dawson Hodge made the tackle. So Jacob Bennett under his own power off to the Golden Hawks sideline. Ryan Barthelson, who's been all over the football field. Illegal block at his own 29, so the ball spotted on the 14, and a long field here for Evan Hillock and the Western Mustangs coming off their first touchdown drive of the game.
And you talked about it early in the first half. A lot of penalties by the Western Mustangs in this game, extremely uncharacteristic of one of the more disciplined teams in the country. On a play that could have brought them to the 40 with starting field position, now they are all the way back at their 18-yard line. Instead of having to drive 60 yards to score a touchdown, now they have to drive a good 88, 82 yards to score a touchdown. Penalties will make or break your chances in the football game. And if the Western Mustangs want to win this game, they might have to clean it up a little bit in that disciplinary category.
And it's not necessarily volume of penalties or that they took a penalty. It's penalties at the wrong time that can be drive killers for your team. Holding happens. False starts happen. It's part of the game. You see those ones all the time. But when there's consistent drive-killing penalties that stack up, it makes it difficult for your team to stage a comeback at some point and try and win a football game. Now they're down by 15 here with 6:07. Tons of time left, and after a fantastic touchdown drive, they're back out on offense. And Evan Hillock at the helm, 1st and 10 at his own 14.
And it looks like Keon Edwards will take a break. It looks like Keanu Yazbek is in on the field at running back. Let's see what they can establish with him in the backfield as opposed to Keon Edwards, who played a pivotal role in setting up that touchdown drive.
As you mentioned, Yazbek in the backfield. 1st and 10 Mustangs from their own 14-yard line. Hillock in shotgun. Yazbek up the middle. And he gets chopped down. A gain of 3. He'll bring up 2nd and 7. Chisenem Insatem making the tackle for the Golden Hawks.
And Jack, I think it's appropriate to speak about the reality of how great this Western Mustangs team has been. The last time they lost an OUA football game was September 25th, 2021 against the Guelph Griffins. Since then, they've won 30 consecutive games against OUA opponents, 3 consecutive Yates Cups, and have outscored opponents by 1,353 points to 469 points. This could be their first loss in 3 years in OUA competition.
They've got a 2nd and long as Hillock goes play action and down the far sideline into double coverage. It's intercepted. Ethan Bayfield into Western territory and down at the 25.
And it looks like Evan Hillock threw that pass into double coverage. It looks like he had Seth Robinson open over the middle of the field. Instead, it looked like he went for Mohsen Jamal, and Mohsen Jamal was double covered. Ethan Bayfield
First and 10 for the Golden Hawks from the Western 25. Trying to capitalize on the Hillock interception thrown to Ethan Bayfield. Elgersma to pass. Into the flat, it's Tanner Nelms who gets chopped down at the 18 as he enters the Team Milovic Royal LePage red zone. Second and medium coming up here for the Hawks.
And you're already in Dawson Hodge field goal range. You're already almost guaranteed to put the points on the board as long as you secure the ball and Dawson Hodge makes a field goal if needed. Let's see if Western's defense can try to come up with a stop here. Let's see if Western's defense can at least, fight off a potential touchdown. The best case scenario, if you don't get a turnover, is you only allow 3 points on this drive.
Second and 4 from the Western 19-yard line. Elgersma, Tayshawn Jackson up the middle, cuts it to the right, his first career rushing touchdown, and the Golden Hawks back in the end zone with 4:17 to go in the third quarter. 19 yards away for the young running back Tayshawn Jackson, and the Golden Hawks have hit the 30-point mark pending the extra point. Oh, boy, making the Mustangs pay for that interception.
Tayshawn Jackson, the young second-year kid. Listen, week 1, big return to help knock off McMaster. In week 3, you have the 108 kickoff return against Guelph to help put away that game. And now Tayshawn Jackson finds the end zone to put the Laurier Golden Hawks up 30-9 and possibly 31-9 against the number 1 team in the country.
Dawson Hodge on for the extra point. Up and good. A 22-point lead and a massive swing for the Hawks. Evan Hillock throws the interception to Ethan Bayfield. And 2 plays later, Tayshawn Jackson gets his first career OUA rushing touchdown. Oh, boy. The Golden Hawks taking it to the Mustangs this afternoon.
3 drives in the second half. 2 touchdowns. If you are the Laurier Golden Hawks, this is what you want to come out with in the second half. This is how you want to respond with Western's potential halftime adjustments. This is how you have to be able to put the game away. This is what we need to see from Laurier today if they want to walk away with this win. So far, they are executing, putting points on the board, shutting down Western's offense, and things are looking good for the Golden Hawks with 4:17 left in the third quarter.
But you've mentioned it so many times with this Western Mustangs team. If there's one team that can adjust on the fly and figure things out, it's Greg Marshall's staff.
And now the question is, when are those adjustments going to come? Because time is running out.
4:17 to go in the third quarter. Dawson Hodge boots it away. Daniel Kabongo drops it at his own 5. Kabongo breaks away from a tackle and gets up the sideline before being forced out at the 23. Kojo Kadua forced him out of bounds, but Daniel Kabongo losing some yards there after dropping the ball, and the Mustangs come back out 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. Just over 4 minutes to go.
And big thing I'm looking to see is Keon Edwards on the field, because the lone success that you've had in this game today, if you're the Western Mustangs offense, is with Keon Edwards on the field, is with Keon Edwards in the backfield, is with Keon Edwards touching the ball. So I want to see how active Keon Edwards is for the Western Mustangs on this next drive, because right now, time is running out. You are down 31-9 against the Laurier Golden Hawks on the road, and it's going to be hard to come back against this rumpus crowd here today.
Intimate crowd with the temporary seating in as University Stadium still going through its facelift. New turf, new lights, new scoreboard this season. As Evan Hillock 1st and 10. Fires this one out, and that pass is caught by Dasani McIntosh. He's got some speed across the 40 up to the 41, and the young Pickering, Ontario native gets a first down for the Western Mustangs.
And there was a big block on the edge by Braden Masiri to open up space for McIntosh after the run or after the catch to set up that run, pick up some yards, move the chains. That is what Western Mustangs need right now if they want to stay in this game.
McIntosh, a couple years in the JUCO route down in the United States. 2022 in Arizona, 2023 in California. Pass to him over the middle. It's a little behind, and he drops it. 2nd and 10 from their own 42 for the Mustangs.
Man, the Laurier Golden Hawks offense just caught a big break because there was wide open space and even a hole right there off the edge. If McIntosh caught that ball in full stride, that might have been 6.
Showed off his speed on that first catch, and Hillock looking for a new target on the second one to go to consistently, but threw it behind him. Dasani McIntosh's sister, Zakia, also played soccer at the University of Louisville in the NCAA as part of the Canadian Women's U17 program back in 2010. Hillock down the field looking for Misery, makes the catch at the 35. Goes up and gets it. First down, Mustangs.
And what many people didn't see on that route is Misery slipped up on the inside. He slipped up, caught his composure, went up, high-pointed the ball, and mossed the DB to keep the Western Mustangs alive in this game. First down, Western. They are moving, and they are now in Laurier's territory.
They're on the ball immediately. They want to go hurry up, down by 22. Handoff to Keon Edwards up the middle, chopped down just shy of the 30. A gain of 4 will bring up 2nd and 6.
You pass the ball a little bit, you throw the ball through the air, you go to 3 straight passes. Let's hand it off to our former OUA MVP and see if he can pick up some yards. The Western Mustangs turning to Keon Edwards to keep the consistency in terms of ball movement and try to pick up some yards. 2nd and 5. Let's see if Western can stay alive.
2:10 to go in quarter number 3. A 31-9 lead for the number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks against the number 1 Western Mustangs. Keon Edwards again, driving himself forward. And he will pick up a first down on the gain of 7.
And what makes Keon Edwards so special as a running back is not only his ability to break tackles, but it's also his ability to remain patient, wait until the hole opens up, and attack the hole with speed and with precision. And he was able to do that just now and pick up a first down for his Western Mustangs.
On the ball yet again, Evan Hillock looks to his right. Mohsen Jamal makes the catch down the sideline, and he gets forced out of bounds right at the line to gain. And we'll see where they spot him. They give him a first down on the gain of 11. 1st and 10, just outside the Golden Hawk 10-yard line.
Mohsen Jamal hasn't touched the ball that much today. A former All-Canadian receiver and a big part of Western's team for the last 2 seasons, was able to pick up a near first down or pick up a first down on that play. Western is knocking on Laurier's door.
Hillock back to pass. He'll roll out to his right. Evan Hillock keeps it himself, and he'll just step out of bounds after a gain of 4, brings up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Evan Hillock looked over to the weak side of the field. He saw nothing. He saw it. All options were shut down. Looked over to the field side, saw nothing, took it himself, picked up a couple yards, ran out of bounds, stayed safe, and protected the ball. 2nd and 6.
2nd down inside the red zone for the Western Mustangs. Down 31-9, 1:05 to go in quarter number 3. Handoff to Keon Edwards, looking for a gap and diving forward. He'll be close to that line to gain, and he'll come up short. It will be 3rd down, and looking like 1 here for the Western Mustangs.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Western Mustangs went heavy on this next play to try and push it in and pick up some points on the board. Rancourt stays off the field. Hillock stays on the field. Nope, Jerome Rancourt comes on the field. Evan Hillock comes off the field. They're going heavy.
3rd and 1 here for the Western Mustangs. Down by 22 inside the Laurier 5, and it's the 6'5", 250-pound quarterback for the Mustangs in under center.
And the question is, will Jerome Rancourt go up the middle, or will he bounce out to the side and run it in? Try to run it in.
Rancourt to his right, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Western. Jerome Rancourt, a 3-yard scamper. And the Mustangs get a major for the 2nd time in the 3rd quarter.
And Jerome Rancourt decides to run it off the edge and in, keeps the Western Mustangs alive, puts them down now. Instead of 9-31, it's going to be 16-31. Western is still alive, 8 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. But now as we enter the 4th quarter, the Western Mustangs are going to have to turn it up, put some more points on the board in the 4th if they want to come back in this game. But once again, we're back to a 2-score game, which is a 2-possession game.
2 massive touchdown drives for the Western Mustangs here in quarter number 3. But the Laurier Golden Hawks have 2 touchdown drives here in quarter number 3 as well. Brian Garrity's extra point is good. He is 22 of 22 on the season on extra points. And the football that he kicked through the uprights is a Wilson football, which is official football of the OUA, founded in 1914. Wilson is a leading manufacturer of high-performance sports equipment, apparel, footwear, and accessories, bringing more than a century of innovation, history, and heritage across football and beyond. So the Western Mustangs down by 15 with 8 seconds to go in the third quarter to the Laurier Golden Hawks, who have 2 touchdown drives on their 3 drives here in quarter number 2. And Laurier has to feel good about how their offenses move the ball. So does Western, but within striking distance are the Mustangs.
Yeah, and Jack, it's going to come down to this. If you're the Western Mustangs, if you want to win this game, you are going to have to stop the reigning #1 offense in the country. That is what it's going to come down to. And if the Western Mustangs want to win, they are going to have to shut down the #1 passing attack in the country, and they're going to have to stop that Laurier rushing attack that's been very consistent today.
Ryan Hughes and Tayshawn Jackson deep to return. Hughes is the returner to the boundary, the short side of the field. Brian Garrity to kick this one away. And it is Hughes to return. From inside his own goal line. Hughes to the far side of the field, and he gets chopped down. Great job on special teams by the Mustangs. Ryan Barthelson, the Simon Fraser transfer, getting it done again.
A couple of Simon Fraser transfers on the field today, making things happen for both teams, right? You talk about even Jahari Hastings on that defense, making things happen today as well. Here we go. Western's defense as we kind of wind down this third quarter and enter the fourth quarter. Turnovers are needed. Stops are needed. Sacks are needed from this defense.
Final play barring a penalty here in quarter number 3. 31-16 lead for the Hawks. They're 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. Elgersma with Nelms in the backfield. Elgersma quickly out to Ethan Jordan on the far side, and he gets up to the 20, and it looks like he will be close to that line to gain. And they do give him a first down. That's the end of the third quarter. The Laurier Golden Hawks with a 31-16 lead over the #1 Western Mustangs. 1st and 10 from their own 20 when we come back for the fourth quarter. You're watching Laurier Golden Hawk football on OUA TV. Tickets for the 2024 Vanier Cup at Richardson Stadium are on sale now. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit usportstickets.ca to reserve your seat for Canada's University Football Finale. The 2024 Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 23rd in Kingston, Ontario. Chase the glory, of course, Deshaun Stevens along with Mark Lee on the call on CBC for that one. Fourth quarter, 1st and 10 for the Hawks from their own 20, up 31-16. Handoff to Tanner Nelms. Up the crease and driving forward, a gain of 13 and a first down.
1 quarter left. You're up 31-16. You have the ball. There is no need to rush. There is no need to force it. Hand it off to Tanner Nelms and let him do his thing. He is consistent. He is reliable. Let him bring you home. That is what the Laurier Golden Hawks are trying to do right now. Let's see if they're going to, though, set up the run to later establish the pass.
11 carries for 57 yards on the day for Tanner Nelms. That was his long. It was 13 yards. He went for 104 last week, and his long was 14. He'll get it again. 1st and 10, has another crease. Another first down on the gain of 12.
Another first down from Tanner Nelms, the senior, putting the ball in his hands. and taking the game into his own hands against the #1 team in the country, picks up another first down, but also big credits to the offensive line, opening up those gaps and allowing Tanner Nelms to run through, secure the first down. Laurier is moving. They are running the ball. They have momentum.
1st and 10 from their own 46. Back-to-back handoffs for a combined 25 yards for Tanner Nelms. He's in the backfield and gets it again. Nelms driving forward. This time he'll gain about 6 and bring up 2nd and 4. This fourth quarter of Laurier Golden Hawk football is brought to you by Izio Financial and Sun Life. For all your insurance and investment needs, please check out izio.ca for more information. Golden Hawks slow to get off the turf after the play. Josh Rietveld, the boundary guard, big piece on that offensive line. 6'5", 335 pounds, the 4th year out of Brantford. Has been playing side by side with Cooper Hamilton for the past few seasons and really a massive part of that Laurier offensive line.
And it's been great to see how Laurier's been able to rebuild their offensive line over the last number of years. Kind of coming out of that Curly Gittins Jr., Lavondre Gordon era, now into this Tanner Nelms era. To be able to see the great offensive line that have come through Laurier over the years. Laurier is known for their defense, right? They've been known for their defense. They've been known for their skill players. But over the last 4 to 5 years, they've become really known for their offensive linemen. So great to see how this program's been able to really rebuild their wall up front.
Josh Rietveld getting up to his feet here at University Stadium with some help from some undressed teammates for today's game. Of course, you talk about great offensive line play. Of course, you can't mention that in the last couple of years without mentioning that Isaiah Adams getting drafted in the 3rd round by the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, he transferred during that COVID season that didn't happen in Canada. He went to a junior college. He went to Garden City Junior College in Kansas and then ended up at the University of Illinois, where he was an all Big Ten offensive lineman. If you know that conference, you know it is difficult to be a great offensive lineman because there are so many studs around that conference, and then picked up in the 3rd round by Arizona. But he started his first 2 years of university football here at Wilfrid Laurier. 13 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, 31-16 Golden Hawks, 2nd and 4 from their own 52. Play action. Elgersma under pressure. Downfield. Raiden Thorne makes the catch and gets a first down. Under pressure from the rush and a contested catch. Great play for the Hawks and another stick mover.
And that was a huge play from Raiden Thorne because, again, he's been on an island all day with Richard Adubafor, who's one of the best physical shutdown corners in the OUA. On that route, Raiden Thorne had to beat Richard Adubafor one-on-one. He beat him off the slant, got open, and was able to get open just in time for Taylor Elgersma to find him over the middle and deliver that pivotal, crucial first down.
1st and 10 from the Western 42 for the Golden Hawks. Play action to Jackson. Raiden Thorne down the field, makes the catch at the 10, and goes down to the 7-yard line.
And this is why Raiden Thorne is an all-Canadian receiver. He is right now going up against, again, one-on-one with one of the best shutdown physical corners in the OUA, and he just beat him for the 2nd time in a row on a route over the middle to deliver a first down.
Looks like Richard Adubafor down on the field for the Western Mustangs. We talked about him here in the 3rd quarter. Looked like he was hobbling off after the last Laurier touchdown drive. And now down on the field after that big Raiden Thorne catch, and you have to wonder if some of that injury aiding Raiden Thorne and getting so open at parts of this game.
And again, the Western Mustangs have played 4 straight weeks. They have not had their bye week yet. They have played 4 straight weeks, and they're capping off this 4-week stretch with their toughest opponent of the season so far. They got their bye week next week, but for them, it's can they get through this game? Of course, ideally, they'd love to get through this game with a win, but it's also can they get through this game as healthy as possible.
Taylor Elgersma is 20 of 25 for 358 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. 11:58 to go in quarter number 4. It's a 31-16 lead for the Laurier Golden Hawks. A large contingent of Western Mustang fans making their way here to University Stadium. As you just saw, the Golden Hawks have a 1st and goal at the Western 7-yard line inside the Team Milovic Royal LePage red zone. Taylor Elgersma will come out with his 3 running backs in the formation. Tanner Nelms, Darian Bassick-Hayden, and Tayshawn Jackson lined up behind him. 1st and goal for the Hawks. Tayshawn Jackson Looking for number 2. He'll drive forward down to the 1-yard line, and he'll come up just short.
What a game Tayshawn Jackson has had. What a start to the season he's had through these first 3 games, bringing Laurier down to the 1-yard line. And I got to say, this all-Canadian trio of Jordan, Thorne, Elgersma has really come alive today. You talked about Taylor Elgersma and his performance today. Ethan Jordan, 5 receptions, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Raiden Thorne, 7 receptions, 98 yards. No touchdowns yet, but he's made a big difference down the stretch for this offense.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line for the Golden Hawks. Bassick Hayden, the running back. Parcelidis, the fullback. Elgersma under center. He'll go to his right. Taylor Elgersma reaching for the end zone. Does he get there?
It's going to be close.
And they'll mark him short at the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal for the 1, and the Golden Hawks knocking on the door. No question that you go for it here.
Jack, in the 2016 Yates Cup, when Chris Merchant gave a pass to Harry McMaster up the sidelines for a touchdown, one of our favorite commentators dubbed that the nail in the coffin. If the Laurier Golden Hawks score right here on the 1-yard line, is this the nail in the coffin for the Western Mustangs in this game?
Boy, you said it, not me. I just want to make that clear. We're 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line for the Golden Hawks. Elgersma under center. 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. 15-point lead for the Hawks. Elgersma again to his left and in for a Laurier touchdown. Second rushing touchdown of the game for Taylor Elgersma. And the Golden Hawks up by 21 and pending an extra point.
And you knew Taylor Elgersma was going to run it in. You knew he was going to put his head down and bounce and find a hole and bring it up the middle and try to find a score. You knew that was coming.
Didn't work the first time, worked the second time. Tough to keep him out from the 1-yard line on back-to-back plays. Dawson Hodge on for the extra point. Up and good, 38-16, the Golden Hawks lead. The highest offensive output on the season for the Hawks, and it comes against the number 1 ranked team in the country in the Western Mustangs. And there's still 9:56 to go in the 4th quarter. Westerns had a response at every point in this second half, but at some point they're going to need to get a stop and continue to put up points down by 22 under 10 to go.
Yeah, with 9:56 left, we haven't been seeing enough of that. We've been seeing some of it, but we haven't been seeing enough of it. And you got to wonder, at 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, would it be a bit too much too late? How many stops can you get? Can you stop this offense? And on offense, for the Western Mustangs, how many touchdowns can you get? Can you drive down the field? They've been struggling to move down the field. You don't have a lot of time on your side. You have to move quickly. You might have to go through the air. Your passing attack hasn't been the best today. So for the Western Mustangs, they put themselves in quite the predicament with 10 minutes left. It's going to take a lot to overcome this deficit.
Roman Campanaro back deep to receive for the Western Mustangs. Daniel Kabongo deep as well. Dawson Hodge to boot this one away with the Golden Hawks up 22 with 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Campanaro just inside his own end zone. Up the middle of the field. Kojo Kadua makes the tackle at the 30 as a flag flies at the end of the play. So we'll await the call from Henry Chu. But really, like it's been all second half for the Western Mustangs, back against the wall, having to put together a drive here, Deshaun.
And now it's going to take a perfect drive, really and truly. It's going to take a series of perfect drives if you want to be able to get back into this game. From Evan Hillock, it's going to take him completing passes, not overthrowing receivers or underthrowing receivers. It's going to take first downs when you hand off the ball. It's going to take perfect execution if you want to have a sniff of getting back into this game and securing anything close to a W against this Laurier Golden Hawks team.
A holding call going against the Western Mustangs, so that pushes them back to their own 10-yard line here. 1st and 10. Time starting to move here in the 4th quarter on the Western Mustangs, down by 22. Evan Hillock in shotgun with Keon Edwards. Quickly to Braden Misery, and he gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Jesse Wilkins and Malik Cote, Jahari Hastings, the usual suspects getting it done for the Hawks.
That's like the Bermuda Triangle of Laurier's defense right there. You throw it to the Bermuda Triangle, you're in trouble. You might get lost. And the Bermuda Triangle sniffed that out, closed in on that screen pass, and drove Missouri back 2 yards. And now we're 2nd and 12 on their own 8-yard line.
Out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by the Crown Plaza Kitchener-Waterloo. Guelph with a 29-17 lead against McMaster. Hillock escapes to his right, and he'll keep it himself. Evan Hillock out of bounds at the 22-yard line, and that looks like it'll be good enough for a first down.
Evan Hillock escaped the pocket, felt the pressure, left the pocket, used his legs. Seth Robinson was open over the middle, but Evan Hillock was able to run out of bounds and catch the first down, keep this drive alive, and keep this team alive in the fourth quarter. 8 minutes and 51 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The clock is rolling.
1st and 10 from their own 22. 8:45 to go in the fourth quarter. Hillock. He gets swallowed up in the backfield. Ethan Gregorczyk and Matt Caruso get home untouched up the middle.
Ethan Gregorczyk, the reigning OUA Rookie of the Year, looking for a big second year. That's a big second year play by one of the leaders of this linebacker group, getting to Evan Hillock, taking him down in the backfield, not forcing the fumble, but now forcing it to be a 2nd and 16 on the 16-yard line. This is going to be a tough second down for the Western Mustangs. They need to stay alive in this game. They need to gain some yardage. They need to try to pick up a first down.
Last time it was 2nd and long. Hillock ran for it himself. Under 8 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Hillock, 2nd and 16. And he'll get swallowed up again. This time it's Marcus Tenney. Back-to-back sacks. And the Mustangs moving backwards, and they'll have to punt this one away.
And the defense smells it. The defense sniffs it. They see a win on the horizon, and they know if they want to win this game, they got to shut down Western's offense just a handful more times in this fourth quarter. They came through on that one, picked up back-to-back sacks, and are going to force the turnover, get the ball back in their offense's hand, and try to put this game away and see if Laurier can pick up their first win over this Western team in the regular season since 2005.
September 23rd, 2006 was the last time the Golden Hawks got a win. As Western concedes the safety, it's a 40-16 lead. The Golden Hawks will take over at their own 35-yard line. We talk about that game back in 2006. You and I were 9 years old in 2006. Western Mustangs starting quarterback for that game was Laurier head coach Michael Folds. He was 22 of 32 for 256 yards and a touchdown, but because the team's rushing attack and DJ Bennett couldn't get it done on the ground, he also threw 3 interceptions in the game. And the Golden Hawks won that one on home field. That was the last time Laurier's beaten Western at home. That's the last time they've beaten them in the regular season. The Golden Hawks haven't beaten Western since the 2016 Yates Cup final. And before that, it was September of 2006. They have a 24-point lead with 7.5 to go, trying to get it done this afternoon. Tayshawn Jackson off to his right, getting blocks, a gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
2006, 9 years old. What were you doing when you were 9 years old? I don't remember what I was doing when I was 9 years old.
I was cheering for Michael Folds in the Western Mustangs at the time. He was my favorite player watching the games on TV. That's changed when he recruited me to come play here at Laurier. 2nd and 2 from their own 43-yard line for the Golden Hawks. Tayshawn Jackson stays in at running back. Play action. Raiden Thorne right at the line of scrimmage, makes a man miss, but he goes down to a knee, and a flag flies after the play on the gain of 1. It would be 3rd and 1, but we'll see what the call is.
And with Richard Adubafor on the sidelines receiving medical attention, it really does leave whoever is covering Raiden Thorne in a mismatch up against an all-Canadian receiver.
Cooper Hamilton called for the unnecessary roughness after the play, so it's going to be 3rd and 16. They marked him 1 yard short. Taylor Elgersma thought it should have been a first down. So it'll be 3rd and 16 here for the Hawks, and a quick drive. They have to punt this one away. Roman Campanero deep to return with Daniel Kabongo. Laurier boots this one away from their own 29. Big rush coming from Western and a high spiraling punt by Dawson Hodge. Campanero at his own 30. And he'll get taken down. Luke Rayner and Jason McGugan getting downfield to make the tackle. Aomi Ojatalayo made him sidestep and slow him down a little bit, but Evan Hillock and the Western Mustangs offense will come onto the field at their own 41-yard line with 6:12 to go in the fourth quarter after back-to-back sacks on the last drive. Shortened that drive a lot more than they wanted it to.
And with 6 minutes and 12 seconds left, you're down 40-16. Jack, it's going to take near perfection to even sniff a comeback in this game from this Western Mustangs offense.
It was 17-2 at the half, and the Golden Hawks with 3 touchdowns and a safety here in the second half to the Mustangs 2 touchdowns, have them up 40-16 with just over 6 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. You're watching this game on OUA TV, and remember you can catch all the action on OUA TV with hundreds of games from around the OUA, live or on demand each year. The streaming home for the OUA lets you follow your favorite teams on their quest for a coveted conference banner. Visit OUA TV to watch. So a 1st and 10 for Western, and almost feels like it's now or never for the Mustangs.
Yep, it's now or never. You need perfection if you want to sniff a win.
So Hillock and Edwards in the backfield for Western. Keon Edwards with the handoff up the middle. Cuts to the outside and taken down at his own 51. Right at the line to gain. We'll see where they mark it. And it is a first down.
And now the clock is also not on Western side. The clock is ticking. We're now well under 6 minutes. The clock is ticking. Keon Edwards stayed in bounds. If they want to get back in this game, they got to score quick. They got to move down the field quick.
1st and 10 from their own 51 for Hillock. Play action to Yazbek. Hillock taking a shot down the field for Robertson. Incomplete. Malik Cote in coverage. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Mustangs.
And Seth Robinson knew that was a little bit overthrown. Ran as hard as he could, couldn't get to the ball. They had to take a shot. You have to take a shot at this point down the field. You got to see what you can do, and you got to do it by giving it to your #1 receiver right now. Seth Robinson leads the nation in touchdown receptions. Put up one, see what he can do.
He's been your go-to guy so far today if you're the Western Mustangs. Injured Mustang on the field, and it is Seth Robertson. He was slow to get off the turf down at the Laurier 5, and he will walk off the field, but he has 4 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown in this one, the only passing touchdown of the game for Western.
And you have to get the sense for the Laurier Golden Hawks that they've really entered this game looking to exercise their demons that they have faced against the Western Mustangs, specifically last season in Week 9, specifically last season in the Yates Cup, coming so close to being able to defeat this team, but coming up short. Today, like you said, they had the confidence all week. They knew they could compete, and today they've done just that, having an extremely large 40-16 win, a lead we've never really seen anyone have over Western before in this era of Western Mustangs football. A fantastic performance today from the Laurier Golden Hawks as the clock winds down in this fourth quarter.
Hillock 2nd and 10 from his own 51. Needs to get to the Laurier 49 for a first down. Keanu Yazbek met in the backfield, but stays on his feet, picks up a first down, and Jahari Hastings drops him as Yazbek tried to go over top.
Keanu Yazbek is pound for pound definitely one of the more athletic running backs in the country. You saw it there. Broke 2 tackles, goes for a hurdle. Jahari Hastings, what a game he's had today. He's been everywhere. He's truly been everywhere in every single major collision, every major tackle. You talk about the fumble in the opening drive. Jahari Hastings has been there. He's been a part of it.
6 solo tackles, 2 assist tackles in the game so far for Hastings. Keon Edwards, a 5-yard gain, brings up 2nd and 5. Malik Cote with 6 solo tackles. He had 9 solo tackles last week against Guelph. Laurier defense has had a real good day so far. 4:42 to go in the fourth quarter, up 40-16 on the Western Mustangs. And an injured Golden Hawk down on the field. The Western Mustangs with 2nd and 5 again, trying to get back in the end zone. 24-point deficit here, which if you can convert on 3 2-point conversions as Abraham Odiasi gets off the turf, is a 3-possession game. But you got to do it in quick succession here if you're the Western Mustangs.
It's gonna be perfect. It has to be perfect. You have to be perfect in these final 5 minutes if you're the Western Mustangs.
2nd and 5 from the Laurier 42 for Evan Hillock. Keon Edwards in at running back. Hillock. Quickly out to Mosen.
Gets tackled out of bounds. 4 minutes, 15 seconds left. The Western Mustangs are knocking on the door, trying to desperately score in the dying minutes of this football game.
Hillock, Dasani McIntosh, touchdown Western. 7-yard touchdown throw from Evan Hillock to Dasani McIntosh. And the Mustangs put another major on the board, and they get the signal from the sideline they have to go for 2.
Go for 2, go for it all, right? You need as many points as you can in these dying minutes. Dasani McIntosh caught open right across the middle on that slant. Evan Hillock found him perfectly, falls into the end zone.
So 2-point conversion coming up for the Western Mustangs. Down by 18. Hillock to the end zone. Robertson gets stuffed at the goal line. Owen Getz and Jahari Hastings.
What a game today by Jahari Hastings. What a key tackle made along with him and Owen Gatz on the 1-yard line to deny Seth Robertson from getting into the end zone, picking up those 2 points. And now what could have been a 16-point game remains an 18-point game.
So 40-22 in favor of the Golden Hawks with 4:08 to go in the fourth quarter. You wonder if Western's going to call for an onside kick here to try and get this ball back. The Golden Hawks defense with another big play there. And it does look like Western is going to line up for the onside kick. Brian Garrity from the right hash to the near sideline. 10 Mustangs players lined up at the numbers or closer to the sideline on this side of the field. Raiden Thorne is the hands guy for the Hawks. You can hear both sidelines yelling at their players on the field as Brian Garrity lines up for the onside. Pooches it high. Raiden Thorne knocks it out of bounds. It's Laurier ball at the 48-yard line.
And you see Mohsen Jamal trying to argue with the referees on the sideline, trying to see if there's some way somehow Western could get that ball back. But it looks like it's going to be a Laurier ball.
Now, I think the argument that Western has at the sideline is that his foot was out of bounds while he was touching the ball. And they're going to throw a flag. So Henry True will give the explanation to us. Murray Drinkwalter is the referee supervisor, the chief official for the OUA. Oh, and it is an illegal kick out of bounds against the Mustangs. So Laurier will get the ball at the 47-yard line. 4:08 to go in the fourth quarter. 18-point lead for the Golden Hawks. And trying to close this game out. Referees still having a conference here. Make sure that they get this call right. So it is 1st and 10 from the Laurier 47-yard line. Nelms in at running back. Khalil Durman, the third-string fullback, into the game. Sebastian Parsalidis in the slot. Ojitalayo, Jordan, and Thorne are the receivers. Play action. Khalil Durman in the flat. He'll pick up a first down and step out of bounds at the Western 47-yard line.
Much needed first down to be one step closer to locking up this game, putting this game away. Protects the ball, secures the first down. That's what Laurier needed.
6'2", 255 fullback, second year out of Cambridge, went to Glenview Park Secondary School and was a Cambridge Lion in the OSFL. 1st and 10 Hawks. Handoff to Tanner Nelms. He'll follow Josh Reipvelt and just push that pile forward to the 40. That's a gain of 6. 2nd and 4 coming up for the Hawks.
Hand it off to Tanner Nelms and let him go to work. Let him pick up 5 to 6 yards. Let him take you home. Let him control the pace of this game. He carries the ball, protects it, gets taken down inbounds, obviously, allows the clock to continue running, and now the Laurier Golden Hawks are just coming up on 3 minutes away from really and truly what could be a monumental win against the Western Mustangs.
Under 3 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Elgersma sends Tanner Nelms in motion, and will drop back to pass on 2nd and 4. He'll find Raiden Thorne, and he has a first down, stays in bounds. And it's a first down for the Hawks here. This is the 3-minute warning with 2:42 to go in the fourth quarter. 18-point lead for the Hawks. 1st and 10 at the Western 35.
Raiden Thorne had a chance to go out of bounds, did the best he could to not get pushed out. Took a couple of hits to stay in bounds. Obviously, we're upon a 3-minute warning, but again, Laurier is doing what they need to do to put this game away, and it looks like Western really isn't able to do anything about it.
Tanner Nelms back in at running back for the Golden Hawks. 14 carries for 82 yards. Golden Hawks seeing where the blitz is coming from. Jackson Finley resets at the back of the Western D. Tanner Nelms will drive forward, but he gets wrapped up immediately. Marcus Robinson on the tackle. 2nd and long here for the Hawks.
You see Jackson Finley tried to come off the edge on that blitz. Is it too much too late? Now we're seeing the best defensive player in the country finally get involved, but is it too much too late? Were those the type of looks we had to see from Jackson Finley and this defense earlier on in the game when this Laurier offense was rolling?
He does have 9 tackles in the game, but it hasn't felt like he's put his mark. It's been more reactionary plays from Jackson Finley in this one. 2nd and 9 from the Western 34 for the Golden Hawks with 2:06 to go in the fourth quarter. Handoff to Tanner Nelms up the middle, stays on his feet, keeps them moving, and picks up a first down. 1:58 to go. The Golden Hawks down on the Western 22 with a 1st and 10.
And as the tackle was made by Jackson Finley, the big thing about Finley today is Laurier has tested him. Laurier has gone at him. I'm thinking immediately back to that touchdown from Ethan Jordan at the other end of the field in the third quarter. That was right in front of Jackson Finley. They caught him at the right time. They caught him his backpedal at the right time, and he hasn't been able to, again, make the big impact that we've typically seen from Jackson Finley throughout his career. He hasn't been able to make that impact today, and, of course, has played a pivotal role, unfortunately, in Laurier's offense being successful today.
100 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10 from the Western 21. Darian Bassick-Hayden makes the catch, and he'll go down at the 16-yard line. A gain of 5 brings up 2nd and 5. This is the conversation about this Laurier offense the entire day, is controlling the football and how they've been able to do it on this drive after getting the ball back on the field onside kick attempt.
And now for the Laurier Golden Hawks, we kind of talked about this at the start of the broadcast. They're bye week 2. They win this game. There's a good chance they could lock up maybe potentially a #1 seed in the OUA and earn that first round bye in the OUA playoffs. So this one will be major for them.
2nd and 6 from the Western 17. Handoff to Tayshawn Jackson. He gets met immediately in the middle of the field. 1:08 to go. And I wonder here if the Golden Hawks take this play clock down to 1. Oh, Western's going to call a timeout. So that plan's out the door. But the Golden Hawks trying to take a 21-point lead with just over a minute to go in the fourth quarter, with Dawson Hodge trotting onto the field. And really a statement performance here today by Laurier against this Western Mustangs team, who have had the Golden Hawks number over the last 20 years. We've seen no regular season wins for the Golden Hawks since 2006. No wins against the Western Mustangs since 2016. That was the only time Michael Folds beat the Western Mustangs as a head coach, and he hasn't beaten them in the regular season, but he's a minute 8 seconds away and hopefully trying to get a 21-point lead to put some icing on the cake. 25-yard attempt right down the middle of the field for Dawson Hodge. Jackson Stebbings the hold, Jason McGugan the snap. Up and good for Dawson Hodge. It's a 21-point lead for the Hawks with 1:04 to go in quarter number 4.
And Jack, what this would do for the Laurier Golden Hawks is, what it would really do is it would actually make the OUA really interesting now going forward, because Western falls and they might take their first loss, right? And now all eyes are also on the Windsor Lancers as well. How does Windsor pan out? How does their season look? They got Laurier and they got Western to close out the season. Can Western run the table after this week? Coming out the bye week, they got Queens. What does the remainder of their season look like? Do we have an undefeated team in the OUA this year? Who knows? We'll see. But we know that after this win, it's going to make the OUA, or the race in the OUA, a lot more interesting and a lot more unorthodox than what we've seen in recent years.
Well, and obviously there was a lot of controversy with the USports football rankings coming out last week, and the Montreal Carabins still being ranked the number 2 team in the country despite losing to the Laval Rouge et Or. You wonder if that is going to play a factor. This is the number 1 team in the country, the number 4 team in the country. Where does Laval go? Where does Laurier go? Is Laurier still behind Montreal, or are they still behind Western in the national rankings?
Does Laurier somehow bounce up to number 1?
There's a lot of question marks, but what we do know of these 2 undefeateds is the Laurier Golden Hawks are going to get a victory here this afternoon. Big return coming for the Mustangs, and Campanaro gets shoved out of bounds. 58 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Evan Hillock will stay in the game for the Mustangs. But you talk about Evan Hillock, this is a kid who hasn't lost a regular season game in his OUA career as a starter. He came in as the starting quarterback after that loss to Guelph in 2021. He's done nothing but win in this conference. He's never lost in the conference. His only 2 losses as a starting quarterback coming into today were the national semifinal in 2022 against Laval and the national semifinal in 2023 at Montreal. He'll throw this one out to Dasani McIntosh, who had the touchdown, and he has room on the outside. He's got some blazing speed. Dasani McIntosh won't be caught. He's gone for his second touchdown of the game. Jahari Hastings fell down trying to catch up to Dasani McIntosh and is down on the turf. And he hops up and will walk off the field under his own power. But a quick strike for the Mustangs. 79 yards, Dasani McIntosh. A 2-point attempt upcoming here for the Mustangs. Down by 15.
And Jahari Hastings, who had a good angle at McIntosh, saw it on the play, just collapsed, just went down. Whatever it was, gave out whatever it was, and that made way for McIntosh to really take it to the house and put one on the board. And the Western Mustangs, they don't think they're done. They don't think they're done. They got 45 seconds left in this game, putting points on the board. They're not done yet.
So Evan Hillock to go for 2, 45 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. 2-point attempt, and it's incomplete. So a second missed 2-pointer. 15-point lead for the Golden Hawks. So the Mustangs still need 2 touchdowns, 1 converted with a PAT and 1 converted with a 2-pointer that Western is 0 for 2 on in this game. But you will see an onside kick attempt here for the Mustangs.
Yep. Once again, Western, they're not done yet. They're not going to go out like this, right? You have a touchdown, gives you life, onside kick. Let's see if they can recover it. 45 seconds left. Surprisingly, in Canadian football, 45 seconds can take you a long way, right? This isn't NFL. This isn't down south. This isn't American football, right? So let's see if Western can come down with one.
2 timeouts as well, so even if Laurier recovers the ball, you got to think the Golden Hawks will only be able to kill off 10 seconds if they don't pick up a first down. And Western's going to use one of those timeouts right now.
Well, there goes one of those timeouts.
Unless they didn't like the look or they made the wrong call. So 45 seconds to go, down by 15. Brian Garrity to attempt the onside. Well, and this is interesting too. Max Nixon was standing at the sideline, and now he's at the hash mark, but now has left the field. I thought they were trying to trick play that nobody would pick up on him there, but he was just making sure they had enough on the field for this onside attempt.
And despite not showing their traditional onside kick look, Raiden Thornton and that Laurier receiving team is ready, expecting that ball to come their way, expecting this onside kick, trying to come down with it and really just put this game away.
So last time we saw Brian Garrity line it up to kick it towards the cameras. This time he's lined up to kick it to that far sideline at the Laurier bench and hammers this out of bounds. So it's going to be Laurier ball. So 1st and 10, Laurier at their own 40. We had to use a timeout to get to that result.
I'd be confused. I'm confused.
I'm not entirely sure what we just watched.
Me neither. Me neither. Not sure if that was the best use of a timeout, but then again, we're not the coaches.
So we will see. Oh, sorry, Western had 1 timeout left. That was their last one. So the Golden Hawks will take a knee here. Algersma will wait and then take a knee here with 38 seconds to go. So he doesn't have to snap the ball until 18 seconds, and then the turnover on downs will come after it hits zeros on the clock. So the Golden Hawks are going to pick up their first win in the regular season against the Western Mustangs since September 2006. Their first win against Western since November of 2016. And the number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks knock off the number 1 team in the country with a 43-28 win on home field and have positioned themselves to be the number 1 team in the conference moving forward. An unbelievable defensive performance and an unbelievable offensive performance from the Hawks. Taylor Elgersma, 24 of 29 for 385 and 2 touchdowns. And the Laurier Golden Hawks finally do it against the Western Mustangs.
A statement win for not only the Laurier Golden Hawks, also for Michael Falls in this era of Laurier Golden Hawks football. It seems like this is the only team they couldn't beat on their quest to eventually trying to win a Yates Cup, trying to win a Vanier Cup, and they finally were able to take down the big beast from London here today, and now all eyes are set on the remainder of the season, right? Does Laurier run the table? Can they go undefeated? What does it say about the Western Mustangs? Do they make this be their only loss this season? And, of course, the Windsor Lancers, the Queens Gales, the Guelph Griffins. Things are shaping up very well in the OUA as we enter Week 4. But this is definitely a huge game and a huge result that will have huge repercussions on the rest of the season and how this conference pans out.
For the Western Mustangs, they head into the bye next week. They suffer their first regular season loss since September 2021. How did they move on from a game like this as Evan Hillock suffers his first loss in an OUA conference game?
And you got to remember, that's the year that even though that was the last time they lost the regular season game, they went on to win the Yates and week. Coming out the bye week after that, they got the Queens Gales, which will be a tough matchup as well. But we'll see how the Western Mustangs react to this loss and react to the remainder of the season. How will they face adversity, a type of adversity they haven't faced in a while, is the big question here.
Next week, it's the Battle of Waterloo across the street for the Laurier Golden Hawks at the University of Waterloo, looking for their second home win of the year and move to 4-0 on this season. The biggest regular season win in a long time for the Laurier Golden Hawks men's football program. 43-28 against the number 1 Western Mustangs. The number 4 Laurier Golden Hawks defend home turf. For our technical producer, Phil Dolmage, my color commentator partner here today, Deshaun Stevens, I'm Jack Moore. Our entire great crew here at OUA TV for the Laurier Athletic Department saying good afternoon from Uptown Waterloo. The Laurier Golden Hawks stay undefeated with a win over Western.